Chapter 43. Chapter 43, Little Throwing Knife. Because of the light, Qin Feng couldn't see Liangsheng's expression. However, it was easy to guess that he was delirious with joy and was incredibly proud of himself. Qin Feng didn't act rashly. Although he would be able to take on 10 Liangshangs in a normal fight, Liangsheng was holding an unknown object, which was probably a gun. Haha, so it's young Master Liang. Why have you come out to meet me so late at night? Could it be that you want to race with me? There was no one around in this suburban district. Qin Feng kept his cool and tried to stall for time, as he looked for an opportunity to attack. As soon as Qin Feng mentioned racing, Liangsheng felt furious again. He still couldn't understand how Qin Feng had arrived earlier than him on a bicycle, when he had been driving a Porsche. Qin Feng, your elder's in awe of your goddamn sense of humor. You're about to die, and yet you're still in the mood to crack jokes. Liangsheng spat as he gnashed his teeth. About to die? Young Master Liang, what do you mean? I can't understand what you're saying. Who would want to kill me? Qin Feng pretended to be dumb and stealthily inched his way towards Liangsheng. As long as he could get close enough, Qin Feng was confident he could kill him in one blow. Stop walking, brat. If you dare to take another step, your elder will immediately shoot you to death. Oh right, with the lights behind me, you can't see what your elder has in his hands. I'll tell you now. Your elder is holding a gun that is pointed towards your head. Ha ha ha. Qin Feng stopped walking. A wealthy young master like Liangsheng wouldn't consider the consequences of their actions. He might actually shoot, having suffered so much today. A gun? Young Master Liang, why are you pointing a gun at me? Aren't we friends? Qin Feng's voice started to shake, as if he was quite scared. This was exactly what Liangsheng wanted. Seeing Qin Feng's cowardly reaction, he felt incredibly delighted. Haha, friends? You think you're good enough to be your elder's friend? You were acting pretty arrogantly tonight. Now you know what fear is. Ha ha ha, if you don't want to die, kneel on the ground and kowtow 3 times to your elder. Then, I might let you off. Kowtow 3 times? Qin Feng wasn't stupid. Even if he did kowtow, a narrow-minded and vengeful scoundrel like Liangsheng wouldn't let him off. He started to feel a little nervous, as he was essentially defenseless. He was more than 10 meters away from Liangsheng, so he couldn't hit him or run away fast enough. Qin Feng felt quite frustrated. Lil Piggy, are there any long-ranged weapons? In his crisis, Qin Feng decided to ask the little pig. Despite how dangerous the situation was, the little pig still looked quite lazy. It licked its hooves and slowly raised its head, which made Qin Feng want to drag it out and beat it up. Master, I'd recommend buying a little throwing knife for 50 hedonist points and killing him in one hit. Fudge, this throwing knife must be made out of gold. Qin Feng couldn't help but inwardly grumble. A single throwing knife would set him back by 50 hedonist points. As such, he was quite reluctant to purchase it. After all, he was saving up for elementary sword skills. However, the situation was quite dire. If he didn't act, he would most likely be dead. Qin Feng gritted his teeth and spent the 50 hedonist points. A small and sharp throwing knife appeared in his hand. Haha, you're still not willing to kneel? That's fine. Before you die, I'll let you in on a secret. Seeing that Qin Feng still hadn't kneeled, Liangsheng didn't become angry, but laughed even more sinisterly. He could tell that Qin Feng cared for Zhao Lingxian and didn't want him to die in ignorance. Actually, I don't like Zhao Lingxian at all. The Liang family only proposed the marriage to the Zhao family to swallow up their medical enterprise. However, that girly Zhao Lingxian has pretty decent looks, nice skin, a hot figure and big boobs, as well as a cold and arrogant aura. When your elder makes her his, I'll trample on her every day and make her completely obedient towards me. How great would that be? Oh, and apart from me, my eldest brother and second brother are also interested in her. We'll make her serve us all and feed her till she's full every night. Ha ha ha, when that time comes, make sure you're weighing from heaven. I won't say see you again, because I'll never be seeing you again. Liangsheng's expression suddenly became cold, and he viciously smiled. He made the sound of a gun firing with his mouth, reveling in the fact that if he pulled the trigger, Qin Feng would fall to the ground. However, before he could do so, Liang Sheng's body slightly trembled. There seemed to be something stuck in his throat, and despite struggling for a while, he was unable to utter a single word. He hurriedly clawed at his neck and found that fresh blood was pouring out, staining his entire arm. As his eyes widened in terror and disbelief, he looked at Qin Feng in confusion and slowly collapsed. He didn't even know how he had died. When he saw Liang Sheng fall, Qin Feng's expression turned icy. The moment he threw the throwing knife, he was so angry that he had hoped Liang Sheng's head would explode. Anyone who dares to humiliate Zhao Lingxian will be killed without mercy. Qin Feng slowly walked over to Liang Sheng and found that he was completely and utterly dead. There was a small hole which passed through his entire neck that was still leaking blood. It seemed that this little throwing knife was worth its price. It just as sharp as the true steel sword. In fact, the throwing knife was so sharp that it had effortlessly passed through Liang Sheng's neck and now could not be found. However, thinking to the fact that it was now covered in Liang Sheng's blood and gore, Qin Feng couldn't be bothered looking for it. 50 hedonist points had gone down the drain. Qin Feng felt no sympathy for Liang Sheng. If that guy hadn't sought him out of his own accord and said those things about humiliating Zhao Lingxian, Qin Feng wouldn't have bothered killing him. However, this sort of arrogant young master, who held no one in his eyes except himself, had probably committed many evil deeds, so his death was well deserved. What Qin Feng had done could be counted as ridding the public of evil. Ding! Congratulations, host Qin Feng, for helping Zhao Lingxian extricate herself from Liang Sheng's wooing. You have received 500 hedonist points. Ding! The hedonist sovereign system has issued a quest: completely eliminate all of the capital's Liang family's forces. Quest time limit: 3 months. Successfully completing the quest will result in you receiving 20,000 hedonist points. Failing will result in the hedonist sovereign system being reset. The host's skills will all be taken back, and the host will be required to reopen the hedonist sovereign system again. When he saw her quest's punishment, Qin Feng knew that this was serious business. However, after looking at the reward of 20,000 hedonist points, Qin Feng was willing to get as serious as this quest required him to. Chapter 44. Chapter 44. Unparalleled under the heavens. Qin Feng had completed 3 quests tonight, and now had 800 hedonist points. He felt indescribably excited and was in a rush to spend them. However, he had to clean up the scene first. He couldn't let the Liang family find out that he had done this. Even if he was going to destroy the Liang family, it was still better to strike from the darkness while they were completely unprepared. After all, the capital's Liang family was a large and powerful family, and couldn't be taken lightly. Qin Feng screwed his head while looking at Liang Sheng's body. He had killed people before, but had never cleaned up corpses. Master, let this little pig out. I can help you clean up the corpse and any remains. Suddenly, the little pig began to excitedly jump around in Qin Feng's mind. With a slight thought from Qin Feng, the cute and chubby little pig came out and began to madly run about. Qin Feng decided that he would let this snotty pig out more. Seeing how excited it looked, it had probably been almost bored to death. Lil Piggy, surely you didn't ask me to let you out just so you could play, right? You said you would help me clean up, so what the hell are you doing chasing that female cat? You're not even the same species. Hearing Qin Feng's complaint, the little pig ran over to him, then looked at Liang Sheng and proudly said, "Che, no big deal. Leave it to this little pig. I'll get this done in a few seconds." As it spoke, the little pig revealed a serious expression that it had never shown before. It looked at Liang Sheng gravely as it suddenly raised its head. Achoo. Fudge, did you have to make such a big deal out of a sneeze? Qin Feng was quite impressed by the little pig's demeanor and had expected it to do something shocking. However, it had simply sneezed. Achoo. 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 The little pig ignored Qin Feng and continuously sneezed while looking just as serious. Qin Feng couldn't bear to wah this anymore. Just as he was going to drag the little pig back into the system and make it reflect on its actions, a wave of hot air rushed over. Boom. This time, the little pig didn't sneeze, but released a large fireball. The fireball flew over and landed on Liangsheng's body. In the blink of an eye, flames that burned as tall as a person shot up, causing Qin Feng to take a few steps back in fear. He looked at Liangsheng and found that he had already been disintegrated to ashes. Holy crap, little pig, what sort of animal are you? You were probably originally a dinosaur, right? Someone probably threw you into a pigsty, and you grew up there. Qin Feng was completely dumbfounded. This entire time, he had believed that apart from being cute and proud, this little pig was just a useless fighter. However, he now realized that he was completely wrong. Che, it's no big deal. Master, this is just the tip of the iceberg, as far as my abilities go. After I break through and evolve, and enter the intermediate grade, spitting fire will be a piece of cake, the little pig proudly declared in its usual manner. How do you evolve? And how can you spit out fireballs even though you haven't evolved yet? Qin Feng excitedly asked. There are two ways to evolve. The first is to let me loose and allow me to train and break through by myself. It's more or less like Master's own training. The second method is for Master to buy evolution potions so I can quickly evolve. However, the potions are quite expensive. The potion to evolve from elementary to intermediate costs 2,000 hedonist points. With Master's personality, you definitely won't be willing to buy it for me. Haha, can't we just all get along? Qin Feng awkwardly screwed his head and evilly smiled as he looked at the little pig and said, To be honest, I feel like getting you to train by yourself is a pretty good idea. You're probably bored to death staying in the system every day. The world is so big. You should go out and have a look. Thinking back to the fireball that the little pig just released, Qin Feng's eyes lit up. Once it broke through, he would keep it by his side. If he wasn't happy with anyone, he could destroy them with a fireball. This sort of low-investment, high-return opportunity was something that Qin Feng loved. The little pig condescendingly rolled its eyes at Qin Feng as it coldly harumphed, Master, make sure you think this through properly. I can only produce one fireball per month, and I can't use it perfectly yet. Just then, I had to try a few times before I could release it. If Master really wants to throw me out to fend for myself, even a wild dog would be able to bite me to death. Haha, I was just joking. Qin Feng hurriedly dispelled the little pig's thoughts. He had bought this pig for 50 hedonist points and couldn't let it just die like that. Of course, it was mainly because Qin Feng remembered that the little pig had saved him quite a few times. It simply wouldn't be very humane for him to leave it to fend for itself. So, it turns out that firing fireballs for you is like an ant visiting. It only happens once a month. If I knew that was the case, there's no way I would let you go out by yourself. The outside world is incredibly dangerous, and I would worry about you. Qin Feng guiltily laughed. The little pig coldly laughed along with Qin Feng. Evidently, it didn't believe him. Qin Feng smiled and continued to speak. Little pig, how many times can you evolve then? When you reach intermediate grade, will you be able to fry anyone you want with fireballs? I'm a normal pet, so I can evolve 4 times. Elementary, intermediate, advanced, and ultra. There's a rare type of pet that can continue to evolve after ultra to sovereign and unlock their special hidden skills. They're all incredibly powerful, but it costs a lot of hedonist points to upgrade them. It's something you wouldn't dare to think about just yet. The little pig looked at Qin Feng meaningfully before continuing to speak. Even if I evolve into intermediate grade, releasing fireballs still takes up a lot of strength. After using up all my strength, I'll need to go into hibernation. Fry anyone I want? Do you think I'm a circus animal? Qin Feng realized that this seemingly harmless little pet was hiding such an immense and terrifying potential. He decided that from today onwards, he would treat it better. It would be a shame for it to roast him when it eventually evolved. Firing a fireball once every month was already the little, elementary grade pig's limit. It seemed like it wouldn't be possible for it to get rid of Liangsheng's Porsche. However, Qin Feng had never come into contact with this car, so he wasn't worried about the police finding any links to him. He put the little pig on his shoulder and rode his 28 bicycle to the Royal Hotel. The scene of a man and his pig riding on a bicycle was quite interesting. The little pig rarely came out from the system, so it excitedly raised its head and continuously hooped in the evening breeze and the wondrous nighttime scenery. However, it was a pity that it was a little pig and not a wolf, which would have been much more fitting for the scene. Its grunt, grunt, grunt noises began to drive Qin Feng crazy. Not too long after Qin Feng left that road, a black shadow suddenly appeared by Liang Sheng's Porsche. The phone in the man's hand let out a blue light, illuminating his evil smile. The scene that was playing on the phone was of Qin Feng killing Liang Sheng. Haha, Qin Feng, just you wait for someone to collect your corpse. The man coldly laughed as he disappeared into the night. By the time Qin Feng returned to the Royal Hotel, it was already past 11 p.m. However, he still felt quite energetic. He lay on his bed and hurriedly opened the Hedonist sovereign system. He now had 750 Hedonist point and could buy quite a few goodies. Lil Piggy, give us some suggestions. After looking through the items, Qin Feng was bedazzled by what he saw. He decided that it was safer to rely on the little pig, his leveling trainer. Master, right now you have 750 Hedonist points. I recommend that you spend 300 Hedonist points now to rank up into a rank 4 Hedonist mortal, so you can obtain another 3 lottery chances. You should save the remaining 450 Hedonist points to buy the elementary sword skills when you reach 1000 Hedonist points. You can also spend these 750 Hedonist points to level up the elementary Thunder Tiger Fists into intermediate Thunder Tiger Fists. When he began to look through the items, he had immediately seen the intermediate Thunder Tiger Fists. They were worth 1500 Hedonist points, so spending 750 Hedonist points to level up his current fists seemed quite worth it. Master, your Hedonist rank is too low, and you haven't unlocked many of the system's functions yet. Right now, you can only level up the skills that you have. The cost for leveling up skills is half of what it would cost to buy the leveled up skill. For example, the intermediate Thunder Tiger Fists skill costs 1500 Hedonist points in the system, but leveling up the elementary Thunder Tiger Fists skill only costs 750 Hedonist points. Qin Feng understood what the little pig was saying and nodded. The little pig continued to speak as it shook its head. When Master ranks up into a rank 4 Hedonist mortal, you'll be able to unlock the system's fusion function, which allows you to combine various equipment and skills. When Master has spent more than 10,000 Hedonist points and has become a rank 5 Hedonist mortal, Master will be able to unlock the system's wuxia interface. Any equipment, skills, or medicine in wuxia novels can be bought from the system. The little Li throwing knife was a test item from the system's wuxia interface. As for the other hidden functions of the Hedonist sovereign system, there are only things that Master cannot imagine. There is nothing that the system cannot do. All in all, Master just needs to remember this. With the system at hand, you will be unparalleled under the heavens. The little pig's explanation completely shocked Qin Feng. He knew that this system was quite powerful, but he never thought that it would be to such a degree. If he could rank up to a rank 5 Hedonist mortal, he would be able to unlock the wuxia interface. Just thinking about this made Qin Feng feel incredibly excited. When he was little, he had been a massive fan of wuxia novels, such as Fox Volant of the Snowy Mountain, Demigods and Semi-Devils, Return of the Condor Heroes, and the Heaven Sword and Dragon Saber. If he could take out weapons like the Heaven Reliant Sword and the Dragon Slayer Saber, or skills like the 9 Swords of Dugu and the 18 Dragon Subduing Palms, and use them in the current technological age, who knew what sort of incredible things could happen? Chapter 45. Chapter 45, Godly Body Refining Equipment, Flying Dragon Armor. However, that wasn't the most important thing. When he ranked up from a Hedonist mortal to Hedonist warrior, what sort of interface would be unlocked? Qin Feng almost didn't dare to imagine what it would be. Perhaps he would be able to obtain weapons and skills from myths and legends. I should probably level up the elementary Thunder Tiger Fists into intermediate Thunder Tiger Fists. After thinking for a while, Qin Feng finally calmed down. He could predict that the equipment and skills from the wuxia interface definitely wouldn't be cheap. He would have to slowly advance step by step. There were no shortcuts in the path to becoming a powerful figure. With a slight thought from Qin Feng, the 750 hedonist points he had were reset to 0. Immediately, a large wave of foreign memories flooded into his mind. His elementary Thunder Tiger Fist skill had become Intermediate Thunder Tiger Fists. Intermediate Thunder Tiger Fists. Skill rank, Yellow rank top grade, rank divisions. Sovereign, Heaven, Earth, Black, Yellow. Adds another 2 times of strength upon use, for example. If the host has 3 times a normal human strength, the Thunder Tiger Fist will allow the host to unleash 5 times a normal human strength. System price, 1,500 hedonist points. Qin Feng hurriedly opened up his stats page. Host Qin Feng. External technique stage. Stage 1. HP, 1. 1 times a normal person's lifespan. Stage 1 is equal to 1. 1 times. Stage 2 is equal to 1. 2 times. Strength, 3 times a normal person's strength. Combined with the Thunder Tiger Fists, can release 4 times a normal person's strength. Speed, 1. 3 times a normal person's speed. Stage 1 is equal to 1. 1 times. Stage 2 is equal to 1. 2 times. Agility, 1. 1 times a normal person's reaction time. Inner technique stage, none. Qi refining stage, none. 5 times a normal person's strength was equivalent to a punching force of 250 kilograms. He could probably smash a small hole in a car with that sort of strength. Qin Feng was ecstatic. External techniques focused on speed and force, and he had an extra 2 times of strength with the intermediate Thunder Tiger Fists. Moreover, after drinking the speed potions, he now also had an advantage over others in terms of speed. Currently, he even had sufficient strength to give a stage 4 expert, who would exceed him by 3 stages, a good battle. Ding! Congratulations host Qin Feng for spending 1,000 hedonist points in total and becoming a rank 4 hedonist mortal. The system has awarded you with 3 lottery chances. Would you like to draw for prizes? I'll draw. Upon hearing the long-awaited system announcement for the lottery, Qin Feng didn't hesitate. The familiar screen appeared in his mind, and the spinning wheel began to rotate. Ding! Congratulations, host. You have drawn intermediate art skills. Qin Feng shook his head in disappointment. This skill was completely useless. He pumped himself up as he yelled, again. Ding! Congratulations, host. You have drawn intermediate racing skills. Fudge! My racing skills are already top-no. Can't you give me any useful things? Again. Qin Feng started to feel worried. He wasn't sure if he would be able to obtain something he wanted with this final draw. Ding! Congratulations, host. You have drawn a white-grade equipment, flying dragon armor. The 3 lottery chances have all been used. Please continue to work hard and complete quests. Please come again. The electronic voice stopped speaking, and a domineering-looking armor, flashing with white light, appeared in Qin Feng's mind. With a slight thought, the armor appeared on his bed, as a chain of information whirled through his mind. Flying dragon armor. Equipment grade. White grade equipment. Upon equipping, will apply 150 kilograms of weight onto the host's body, helping the host to quickly break through his limit. After taking off the armor, the host's speed will explosively increase, creating unimaginable results. System price, 2,000 hedonist points. The flying dragon armor's description left Qin Feng dumbfounded. This armor had come in quite a timely manner. He was in need of a method to quickly break through, and this godly training equipment, the flying dragon armor, had been drawn by him. The flying dragon armor lay on his bed. It was quite compact, stylish, and shaped like a vest. A silvery white light emanated from it, as if it was a warrior that was awaiting its owner to put it on and rush into battle. Qin Feng caressed the flying dragon armor. It didn't feel cold and metallic as he had expected, but was instead soft and comfortable, as if it was made of silk. However, although it looked quite compact and light, it was so heavy that it required all of Qin Feng's strength to lift it up. Qin Feng hurriedly put on the armor, which distributed the 150 kilograms of weight across every part of his body. Having just put it on, he wasn't quite accustomed to it and found it difficult to even breathe. Master, The flying dragon armor is incredibly tough, but also soft and comfortable. It also has a stealth function which will prevent other people from seeing it. Qin Feng was walking around in his room, trying to become accustomed to the extra 150 kilograms of weight on his body, when the little pig spoke. Qin Feng felt delighted. This piece of armor was simply too powerful. It would be quite awkward for someone to see him wearing this. So he quickly turned on the stealth function. He looked down and found that he couldn't see it at all anymore. However, the overwhelming pressure on his body told Qin Feng that it was definitely still on his body. Bang, bang, bang. Wearing the flying dragon armor while practicing with the Thunder Tiger fists made Qin Feng's actions seem incredibly unwieldy and slow. However, the might in his fists was not to be looked down upon. The sound of air exploding rang out around the room. Because of the additional 150 kilograms, Qin Feng's actions were much slower than usual. By the time he had finished going through half a set of exercises, he was already breathing raggedly and his back was covered in sweat. Despite this, he did not stop. Qin Feng gritted his teeth as he continued to practice. Ever since he had broken into Stage 1, he hadn't felt his body quickly strengthening and being refined. He knew that his body was rapidly developing towards Stage 2. Qin Feng knew that with the flying dragon armor, it wouldn't be too long before he would break into Stage 2. He pushed himself into training for 1 hour with the Thunder Tiger fists, but his body had reached its limit. Although he felt that he would faint if he took even a single step, he was still quite far away from breaking into Stage 2. He couldn't help but stop training and collapse onto the bed. Qin Feng didn't even have the strength to take a shower as he fell into a deep sleep. In the early morning of the next day, as the bright sunlight fell on the vast sports field, the crowd erupted into yelling and cheering. Following the crowd's gaze, one could see an impressive-looking, handsome young man speeding around the sports field on an old 28 bicycle. Needless to say, this young man was the hedonist young master, Qin Feng. Currently, Qin Feng was wearing the flying dragon armor while riding the bicycle. Sweat poured down his body as he furiously pedaled. This attention-calling new ride of his was simply too shocking. He once again caused a massive crowd to gather around the sports field, with everyone eyeing to see what this young Master Qin was up to today. Qin Feng didn't pay attention to the yelling and cheering, but spotted a familiar person within the crowd. Chapter 46. Chapter 46, Chinese Art Competition. Zhao Lingxian was wearing a snow-white lace dress, which fell to her knees. Her slim legs were incredibly straight and eye-catching, and she looked like a beautiful fairy standing in the crowd. Her gaze was as soft and still as water as it fell on Qin Feng. Seeing him ride the 28 bicycle around the track, a hint of warmth appeared in her eyes, and she felt an urge to sit on the bike. As she thought to herself, Qin Feng's bicycle stopped in front of her as he gave a dazzling smile. Princess Lingxian, would you like to ride on this warrior's chariot and experience traveling as fast as lightning? Zhao Lingxian spaced out for a while as she looked at Qin Feng's handsome face. After lapsing into silence for a few moments, she surprisingly nodded. She stretched out her white and delicate hand, allowing Qin Feng to pull her onto the bicycle. The sound of cheering, discussions, and the wind. The sports field was instantly thrown into an uproar, and everyone was talking about Qin Feng and Zhao Lingxian. Qin Feng had publicly rescinded the marriage between Zhao Lingxian and himself not too long ago, and now he was acting close with her again. No one could tell what he was thinking. This was the first time Zhao Lingxian hadn't felt angry when being talked about. All of the voices around her were blown away by the wind, and she closed her eyes, feeling like she had returned to her younger days. She could only experience this sort of wonderful and mysterious feeling when she sat on Qin Feng's bicycle. The spectators were all dumbfounded. Zhao Lingxian was already as beautiful as a celestial goddess, and looked like a princess wearing her snow-white dress, which fluttered as she rode around the track. The wind blew her hair around, causing her to lose the cold aura that was normally around her. She had a lovely look on her face, one that was rarely seen, and her skirt occasionally lifted. The onlookers had glimpses of her thighs, which caused the males to drool. Many of them wished they could use their lips to comfort her from her feet to her legs. Of course, Qin Feng was using one of his hands to hold down Zhao Lingxian's skirt. Otherwise, many of the perverts really would have seen everything. Although his hand was separated from her thighs by the thin dress, the supple feeling on his fingers stimulated him to ride faster and faster. Qin Feng rode 30 laps before becoming so tired that he almost couldn't breathe. He stopped riding as he gulped down air and smiled, saying, "Enough, enough, Princess Lingxian. You must have gained weight. I'm so tired that I can't even ride anymore." Qin Feng. A wave of cold intent surged from Zhao Lingxian's body as she glared at Qin Feng with flames in her eyes. Women hated other people saying they were fat. Zhao Lingxian felt like killing him on the spot after hearing Qin Feng say this in front of so many people. This was especially because Zhao Lingxian felt that she was not fat at all. In fact, she had a tall and sexy body, and there were always countless gazes glued to her. If he wasn't satisfied with such a body, just what could satisfy him? She got off Qin Feng's bicycle in a huff and savagely pinched his waist before turning and leaving. Qin Feng was completely spent and didn't have any energy to chase after her with. However, seeing her angrily leave, he felt that she looked quite cute. At the very least, this was cuter than her normal icy-looking appearance. "Young Masterly, I can't want any more. I want to kill that Qin Feng." In the corner of the sports field, Huaming and Li Xiaojie of Acropolis City's 4 young masters sat under a parasol as they looked at the beauties. Seeing the affectionate scene between Qin Feng and Zhao Lingxian, Huaming's face turned green. Yuan Xiang was determined to make the pure beauty Lin Beibei his, and had fought with Qin Feng as a result. In the end, he could only shamefully run away. Huaming, on the other hand, had his eyes set on the cold and arrogant beauty Zhao Lingxian. Having seen Qin Feng publicly rescind their marriage, then flirt with her in public, Hua Ming's eyes burned with flames, and he wanted to slice him into pieces. "If you're not happy, then deal with him. Big bro here's got your back." Li Xiaojie, who had remained neutral, now sinisterly smiled as he encouraged Hua Ming to go against Qin Feng. Hua Ming's eyes widened. Even he couldn't believe Li Xiaojie would say such a thing. However, very soon, an eerie smile appeared on Hua Ming's charming face. With these words from Li Xiaojie, Hua Ming felt much more confident. A cold smile flashed on his face as he said, "Qin Feng, your elder's going to savagely slap your face today, just you wait." After resting for a while, Qin Feng's body slowly recovered. He rode his bicycle through the university, attracting countless gazes, then went to the dining hall and ordered 3 breakfast sets. Finally, he then went to the arts department's lecture hall. Coming to the lecture hall made Qin Feng feel a bit absent-minded. The last time he had a lesson here, he had publicly confessed to Lin Beibei, and now, he had already become much more familiar with the hedonist sovereign system. Compared to the person he was before, Qin Feng had changed greatly. Although only a few days had passed, it felt like many centuries to him. Class hadn't started yet, and looking around, Qin Feng saw Lin Beibei and Zhao Lingxian. The 2 of them were both good students, and were already seated at the front row with the walkway in between them. Qin Feng smiled and walked over, and placed a breakfast set in front of each of them. "Little sister Lin, Princess Lingxian, you haven't eaten breakfast yet, right?" Qin Feng was desk mates with Lin Beibei, so he sat down next to her as he began eating. After training for an entire morning, Qin Feng had expended much energy and felt completely ravenous. All of the other students were completely flabbergasted. They had long since heard that Qin Feng had made Lin Beibei his, but who would have the gall to flirt with 2 goddesses at once? This young Master Qin's appetite was simply too big. This was simply what was called eating the food in his bowl while eyeing the food in the pot. Didn't he fear being killed by the cold and arrogant goddess, Zhao Lingxian? The 2 women didn't mind the discussions about them, and both of them sat there quietly, looking a bit spaced out. After seeing Qin Feng and Zhao Lingxian cuddling together the previous night, Lin Beibei found it difficult to sleep. She had hoped that Qin Feng truly did like her, and that they could walk together forever. However, Lin Beibei now knew how dumb she was. Qin Feng was still Qin Feng, romantic, dissolute, and sensual. Why would be interested in a poor girl like her? And even if he was interested, it wouldn't be for anything good, nor would it last very long. On the other hand, Zhao Lingxian was thinking about Lin Beibei. Zhao Lingxian found that she was starting to like Qin Feng more and more, and realized that she would always feel incredibly happy and forget the time when she was with Qin Feng. However, whenever she thought to the fact that Lin Beibei was staying at the royal clubhouse, she would angrily gnash her teeth. However, despite thinking those things, neither woman said or did anything, causing all the other students to feel shocked. They had both silently accepted the breakfast Qin Feng had given them. The crowd that had been waiting for Zhao Lingxian to explode in anger was disappointed to see her remain silent. However, this only increased the respect they felt for Qin Feng. In the end, young Master Qin was young Master Qin. He actually dared to flirt with both goddesses in public, as well as cause them to interact harmoniously. There was not a single person who didn't marvel at this. Hua Ming, who just walked into the lecture hall, did not feel a shred of admiration at all. He gnashed his teeth as he glared at Qin Feng, wanting to smack him. After hesitating for a moment, Hua Ming mustered up his courage and strode over to Qin Feng. He gloomily spoke, "Qin Feng, what a lucky man you are. I can't help but admire how you can flirt simultaneously with the two goddesses of our arts department." Despite talking about admiring him, there was not a hint of admiration in his eyes. Instead, there was only icy coldness. "Young Master Hua, do you have any business with me? If not, don't disturb my flirting." Qin Feng hated hypocrites and liked to be direct. As such, no matter if it was the Acropolis City's 4 princes or the Acropolis University's 4 young masters, all of them excluded Qin Feng and disliked him. Seeing Hua Ming come over and say such things, Qin Feng knew he was up to no good. "Qin Feng, it's best to leave a way out for yourself. You angered young Master Yu over Lin Beibei a few days ago, so you'd best keep yourself out of trouble," Hua Ming threateningly said to Qin Feng. Qin Feng knew about Hua Ming wanting Zhao Lingxian, but because he was an insidious and dissolute person, he didn't want to see his little sister Lingxian fall into his hands. "You're threatening me, eh?" Qin Feng smiled as he said, "That day at the sports field, Yu and Xiang also threatened me, and what was the result? That brat was beaten by me. Are you also looking for a beating today?" "You!" Hua Ming was so angry that he felt like coughing up blood. However, thinking to Qin Feng's skills, he felt a bit scared and calmed himself down. Fighting is the most low-class way of resolving conflict. This is a university, and we're all educated members of the upper-class society. Do you dare to compete with this young master using brains? What do you have in mind?" Qin Feng casually asked. Brains? Before, Qin Feng would have been worried. However, he had drawn calligraphy, piano, and art skills from the lottery. He could not be called a master of literature. "We're all from the arts department, and our major is in Chinese art. As such, we'll keep it simple. Each of us will pick a person and paint that person using Chinese art. We'll ask teacher Yun Xiao to adjudicate, and whoever paints the better painting will be the winner." Hua Ming was completely confident. Before making this challenge, he had made sufficient preparations. Although Qin Feng and Hua Ming were both hedonistic young masters and liked to play around, Qin Feng came to the arts department because there were many beauties here. On the other hand, Hua Ming was extraordinarily talented in art and liked painting. In the arts department, he was one of the top students, and the depths of his paintings were unrivaled. Even some of the professors publicly praised his works. Chapter 47. Chapter 47. Astonishing Performance. Hua Ming challenged Qin Feng to his specialty and attracted the attention of many people. He knew that Qin Feng had almost no skills in that area. After all, most people knew that apart from seducing women, Qin Feng didn't seem to have any other skills. "Well, don't tell me you're too scared to compete with this young master?" Hua Ming started to mock Qin Feng after seeing that Qin Feng hadn't replied. If their positions were reversed, Hua Ming definitely wouldn't agree to such a one-sided competition. That would simply be suicide. However, Qin Feng definitely was not scared. His motto was "Life is filled with continuous challenges." It was just that he had only drawn the intermediate art skills the previous night, and he didn't think he would be able to use it so quickly. Various classic masterpieces appeared in Qin Feng's mind. A multitude of art techniques, as well as experience from masters like Qi Baishe, surfaced within his memories. Qin Feng couldn't help but laugh. He looked at Hua Ming as he said with relish, "All right, let's compete in Chinese art. However, before competing, we should set a punishment for the person who loses." Hua Ming was a bit shocked, but he quickly recovered and gave a pleased smile. He was worried that Qin Feng wouldn't dare to compete with him, but he had agreed so readily, and even suggested to set a punishment for the loser. Hua Ming was so excited that he almost cried out. However, he maintained a calm exterior as he smiled and said, "Since I chose the rules for the competition, young Master Qin can decide on the punishment. All right, how about this? You challenged me to a Chinese art competition because you wanted to slap my face in public. In that case, whoever loses must allow all the other classmates to hit them on the head while saying, 'You're trash.' What do you think?" Qin Feng said as he chuckled and looked at Hua Ming. Hua Ming was immediately blown away by Qin Feng's confidence. Since that guy knew that he was trying to publicly slap his face and humiliate him, why did he set such a harsh punishment? Was he completely confident in his victory? However, very soon, Hua Ming felt quite relieved. Although Qin Feng had defeated Yuan Xiang and caused everyone to be completely dumbfounded, Chinese art was not as simple as fighting. It was possible that because Qin Feng was the child of a big family, he had been forced to learn self-defense techniques when he was younger. Coupled with some luck, it wasn't impossible for him to defeat Yuan Xiang. However, art required many months and years of practice. Without 5 or 6 years of practice, it was impossible to draw a good drawing or painting. Moreover, mere hard work was not enough. Art required more talent. Without a natural understanding of colors and lines, no matter how hard one worked, it was impossible for them to become a master. Hua Ming was an art genius and was completely confident that no one could defeat him. He was just as confident as Qin Feng was confident in seducing women. "All right, we'll go with that then," Hua Ming said in a pleased manner. "However, the winner should have a prize. How about the winner gets to kiss goddess Zhao Lingxian in front of everyone else? And it must be a kiss on the mouth." A kiss on the mouth. Qin Feng and Zhao Lingxian's hearts thumped, and they thought of the intense scene in Zhao Lingxian's room the previous night. Qin Feng looked over at Zhao Lingxian and licked his lips as he casually replied, "Sure." Qin Feng now felt quite grateful to Hua Ming. This guy was quite a good brother. He had suggested the thing that Qin Feng wanted to suggest, as Qin Feng was too scared to say it. Zhao Lingxian's cold face immediately became red. After looking at Qin Feng, she coldly glared at Hua Ming as she said, "Moron, you can bet whatever you want, but don't drag me into it." Qin Feng and Hua Ming looked at each other without saying anything, silently confirming the conditions of the competition. As for whether Zhao Lingxian would agree or not when the time came, it wasn't the first time Qin Feng had forced a kiss on her anyway. "Let's begin then." Hua Ming was incredibly eager to win against Qin Feng. He desperately wanted to see the whole class hit Qin Feng and mock him, then kiss Zhao Lingxian's lips. The spectating classmates couldn't help but feel incredibly excited. By this time, there were already 2 spots prepared for them, with fine paper, Chinese art colors, brushes, palettes, Chinese ink, etc. As soon as Hua Ming sat down, his aura completely changed. He calmly lifted his brush and quickly started mixing colors. His brush then flew over the fine paper with vigor, yet elegance. He was indeed quite skilled. Qin Feng didn't move for a while, and instead weighed Hua Ming paint. After obtaining the intermediate art skills, he could very easily find flaws in pieces of art. Hua Ming's art style was quite unique, and he was indeed quite skilled. However, in the eyes of Qin Feng, who could now stand shoulder to shoulder with giants like Qi Baishe, his skills were nothing. Lin Bei couldn't help but cry out after seeing Qin Feng sit unmoving for a while. "Qin Feng, why aren't you painting yet? It doesn't matter whether you win or lose, you should at least try." Although she believed in Qin Feng, she knew just how talented Hua Ming was. As such, she didn't expect Qin Feng to win. This was even more so for the other students. They all started to quietly talk amongst themselves. Most of them were saying that Qin Feng wasn't doing anything because he knew that he had definitely lost, so he didn't even have the courage to paint anymore. However, the most worried out of everyone was Zhao Lingxian. Before, if someone dared to use her as a bet, she would have given them a furious slap, especially if the bet concerned kissing her. However, because Qin Feng was participating, she strangely wanted Qin Feng to win. Thinking back to the passionate kiss from the previous night, Zhao Lingxian felt her body become a bit numb. She still couldn't get over that marvelous feeling. All right, I'm going to start now. Qin Feng suddenly started to move. His hands swept out, and it seemed like the brush in his hands possessed a soul of its own. It started to dance around in his hands with great precision and freedom. Not only did he have intermediate art skills, he also had elementary calligraphy skills. The two skills combined together gave full play to Qin Feng's brilliance. Everyone present was completely shocked. No matter if Qin Feng truly painted a great piece of art or not, just his actions and the aura around him was enough to impress everyone. Color mixing, lifting the brush, lowering the brush, painting. He was like a sovereign of art, and he gave off the air of a maestro. His eyes were focused and in stern concentration as he gazed at the fine paper, and wherever his hand moved, it would leave behind mesmerizing colors. At this moment, the spectators, whose hearts were already beating quickly, felt as if their eyes were going to pop out. Qin Feng's proficient use of the brush made it seem like it was a fish swimming in water. However, he suddenly grabbed a brush with his left hand and he started to paint on another sheet of fine paper, simultaneously painting two paintings. His right hand and left hand were just as nimble as each other, and the brushes seemed to come alive. Wherever the brushes landed, flowers seemed to bloom. Even Hua Ming, who had been working in stern concentration, put down his brush and stared at Qin Feng's performance. Chapter 48. Chapter 48. A scene worth waiting for. Swish, swish, swish. The sounds of Qin Feng's brushes landing on the fine paper sounded like beautiful melodies. 10 minutes passed, and after finishing a painting with his right hand, he pushed it away as he opened a new sheet of fine paper and started painting on it. His focused and handsome face, as well as the majestic and confident air around him, made him seem as if he was on par with Tang Bohu, one of the four great southern talents of the Ming dynasty. All right, I'm done. Qin Feng stopped painting and threw the brushes in his hands to the side. He looked around him and found that everyone was still immersed in their shock. Young Master Hua, are you done painting? Qin Feng ignored these people. He was competing with Hua Ming. He came to his side and saw that he too had finished. The person Hua Ming had painted was the same as one of the people he had painted, Zhao Lingxian. It was just that Hua Ming was too focused on Zhao Lingxian's appearance and did not truly understand her innermost thoughts. Although she looked as beautiful as a goddess, her expression made the onlooker feel a chill when they looked at her. It was just like the normal Zhao Lingxian, beautiful, but completely unapproachable. Chinese art was characterized by a freehand style and focused on the artistic conception of a work, as well as the arrangement of ideas. From Qin Feng's viewpoint, Hua Ming did not satisfy either of these things. At this moment, a pleasant voice called out from outside the door. Students, sorry I'm late. Let's begin class now. The students turned to see Yun Xiao walk in. As she entered the lecture hall, she was stunned. The whole class was gathered in a big circle, with the same expression of their faces. It was as if someone had frozen them all in time. Students, we're starting now, Yun Xiao called out a bit louder. This time, a few students noticed her, and they excitedly brought her over to Qin Feng and Hua Ming. Teacher Yun Xiao, please adjudicate for us. Which of these four paintings is better? Yun Xiao still hadn't realized what was happening, and the students wanted her to judge the paintings without knowing who had painted which one. She was closer to Hua Ming's painting, so she started looking at that one first. It was evident that the subject of the painting was the most beautiful girl in the arts department, Zhao Lingxian. After taking a careful look at it, Yun Xiao gave a slight nod as she said, the painter's skill is profound and has very mature skills in painting. The subject bears a complete resemblance to the real person, and one can tell who it is at a glance. Yuan Shao could be called an expert in Chinese art, and for her to say such things, the painter was evidently quite remarkable. However, she continued, "But this painting lacks spirit. I'm unable to put this clearly into words." Yuan Shao then looked at Zhao Lingxian as she smiled and asked, "Student Lingxian, what do you think?" The subject of the painting was Zhao Lingxian, so her thoughts were important as well. Zhao Lingxian nodded as she spoke, This painting bears some likeness to me. Teacher Yuan Shao, you can have a look at the other paintings." Zhao Lingxian didn't really like Hua Ming. Even if his painting was excellent, she wouldn't bother to give it a good look. On the other hand, she was very curious as to whether Qin Feng had painted her. Because Qin Feng covered up his paintings after finishing each one, no one knew what he had drawn. Yuan Shao nodded, showing that she agreed with Zhao Lingxian's words. She walked over to another painting as she lightly took off the covering. Her delicate body slightly trembled as her eyes lit up. This was also a painting of Zhao Lingxian. However, compared to the extremely icy and cold painting of her from before, this one made her seem lively and full of spirit. The Zhao Lingxian in the painting was wearing a light yellow dress as she stood in a flower bed. She had her eyes closed as she raised her face to the sky, with a blissful smile on her face. She seemed completely different to the cold and arrogant Zhao Lingxian in real life, and yet she seemed so real and likable. She had a friendly and warm aura around her, and all the boys wished they could drag that Zhao Lingxian into reality and secretly keep her as his. Zhao Lingxian's frame shook. When she looked at this painting, her eyes misted up, and she had to fight back the tears to prevent them from falling out. That intoxicatingly beautiful girl in the painting stabbed at her heart. It was the girl who happily played with Qin Feng in her childhood, the real self that she buried deep within her. She was cold and prideful because of the lack of warmth and care she had received. She was afraid of being hurt, so she had put on this icy mask. Yuan Shao stood in front of the painting for a while without speaking. She suddenly walked over to the next painting while softly saying, "I haven't been able to think of the words to praise the previous painting. I'll have a look at the next one first." After lifting off the covering, her body once again trembled. The subject of this painting was someone everyone familiar with. It was one of the other beauties of the art department, Lin Bei. Lin Bei was in a busy city, with people all around her. However, she was squatting in a forgotten corner with her head resting on her knees. There was a trace of loneliness in her eyes, as if she was a child forgotten by the world. However, there was a pair of big, strong hands on her shoulders. They seemed to contain boundless strength, causing what should have seemed like a dreary scene to become warm and blissful. Everyone who looked at the Lin Bei in the painting felt that she was not lonely, because there was someone to protect her and stay with her. As for who the hands belonged to, only Lin Bei knew. She was sure that these hands belonged to Qin Feng. Qin Feng had helped her too much, to the point that she had started to become dependent on him. Every time she stood next to Qin Feng, she would have a sense of safety. Lin Bei, who had suffered many hardships since she was young, felt the toughness within her shatter. She could feel a pair of large hands meticulously protecting her. She turned around as tears flooded down her face. Once again, Yuan Shao did not say anything as she hurriedly came to the third painting and pulled off the covering. She suddenly felt as if her head had been hit by something heavy as it buzzed and her mind blanked out. Yuan Zhao's body swayed, and would have fallen to the ground if Qin Feng hadn't caught her. The subject of this painting was Yuan Shao. In the painting, she was standing in an amusement park. There were couples everywhere, creating a sweet and romantic scene. However, Yuan Shao was standing by herself. She looked at this blissful scene with a bit of emptiness in her eyes. At her age, she desired finding a lover, marrying and settling down much more than people around Qin Feng's age. Those who looked closely would find that in a corner of the amusement park stood a shadow. His features weren't clear, but the man stood silently, looking at Yuan Shao. This shadow didn't escape Yuan Zhao's eyes. When she looked at it, she felt that it looked incredibly familiar. Slowly, the shadow and Qin Feng's likeness fused together, giving her clarity. She suddenly thought of that night when Qin Feng had come alone to save her. It was the first time someone had risked so much for her. However, that scene was quickly replaced with the sight of blood and guts. The black-clothed men who had been chopped in half, as well as the blood-covered Mada who also flashed in her mind. Qin Feng's actions that night had completely frightened Yuan Shao. If it wasn't because Qin Feng had killed those people for her, a righteous teacher like Yuan Shao would have reported him to the police. Teacher Yuan Shao, have you finished looking? Have you made a decision? Qin Feng held Yuan Shao upright as he smiled and asked. Yuan Shao hurriedly shook away those horrifying memories. After steadying her emotions, she slowly said, if I'm not wrong, those 3 paintings were painted by the same person. That person's talent in art is simply astounding, and their skills are unimaginably profound. They're at a level where even I can't comment. After letting out a breath, Yuan Shao continued to speak. As for the other painting, it's also quite good, but compared to these 3, it's lacking some spirit. Simply put, the 2 artists simply aren't on the same level. The person who painted these 3 paintings completely defeated the other person. This conclusion was already extremely clear. Even an idiot would be able to understand it. Qin Feng's artistic skill far surpassed Hua Ming's. Although the crowd had already guessed that Qin Feng would win after seeing how he painted and the lifelike paintings, hearing Yuan Shao say these words sent waves crashing through everyone's hearts. Recently, this young master Qin seemed to have become someone else. He was now some sort of godly person. Hua Ming's face became incredibly gloomy and cold as he stood in the corner. He gnashed his teeth as he glared at the people praising and cheering on Qin Feng. He simply couldn't believe that he had lost to Qin Feng in art. This was a massive blow to him, causing him to feel utterly humiliated. Since the adjudication has finished, I'll give these paintings to you 3. I hope you like them. Qin Feng smiled as he gave the respective paintings to Zhao Lingxian, Lin Beibei, and Yuan Shao. The 3 women accepted the fine paper as they looked at the true depictions of themselves. They gently scrolled up the paintings, each of them thinking to treasure this painting and take good care of it. Yuan Shao then went to the lectern, and after calming herself down, she began to teach. During this lesson, Qin Feng didn't make any trouble. He had been working hard for the entire morning, and now lay on the desk as he napped. This caused Yuan Shao to feel a bit strange. Going through a lesson smoothly made her feel like something was missing. After class, Yuan Shao packed her things and left, but the students all quietly sat in their seats. Not a single person dashed out of the lecture hall like they usually did. This was because victory and defeat were decided between Qin Feng and Hua Ming, and the rewards and punishments hadn't been given out yet. No matter if it was hitting Hua Ming's face or Qin Feng kissing Zhao Lingxian, they were all a scene worth waiting for. Chapter 49. Chapter 49, Kiss, Kiss, Kiss. Qin Feng grinned as he walked over to Hua Ming. He had never shown mercy towards enemies who provoked him for no reason. Young Master Hua, I'm terribly sorry, but it seems I've accidentally won against you, Qin Feng calmly said as he looked at Hua Ming. Since victory and loss have already been decided, let's start dishing out the rewards and punishments. I'm sure that a famous figure like young Master Hua won't go back on a bet, right? Hua Ming really couldn't go back on his bet. Even if he could avoid being hit by the other students and being called trash, he would gain the reputation of being a sore loser who couldn't keep a bet in the entire university. That would result in a massive loss of face, making it impossible for him to lift up his head in the entire Acropolis University again. However, in the end, he was still one of the Acropolis University's 4 young masters, and he possessed a powerful background. He looked quite calm as he coolly looked at Qin Feng and said, I, young Master Hua, have always kept my word and keep my bets. Isn't it just hitting my face? Come, if anyone dares to do it, then do it. Hua Ming's words evidently contained a veiled threat. The students who had been looking forwards to hitting this proud young master all shrunk back. Facing the majestic background of this young master, no one dared to make a move. They were all afraid that if any of them dared to satisfy this craving of theirs, their legs would be broken as soon as they stepped out of the university. Haha, see, Qin Feng, It's not that your elder doesn't accept his loss, but that these people are all cowards. Even though I've given them the chance, they don't dare to touch your elder." Hua Ming was very pleased at what he saw and felt as if he had conquered this group of people. He looked at Qin Feng smugly as he said, "Your elder's quite busy. Since there's no one who dares to touch me, I'll be going now." Just as he spoke, a crisp, slapping sound rang out. This slap completely stunned Hua Ming. He had thought that all of the students had been frightened off by him, and that no one would dare to make a move against him. However, after receiving this slap, he knew that he had been too naive. He even forgot about the fiery, stinging pain on his face as he murderously stared at Qin Feng. This was because this slap had come from Qin Feng. "Who said no one dares to hit you? This young master didn't say such a thing." Qin Feng hadn't had enough after one slap, so he slapped out another 2 times as he laughed. "Since no one else dares to slap you, this young master will have to do a bit of toiling and labor for everyone." Slap, slap, slap. Slaps continuously rained down on Hua Ming's face and head, sending tremors through everyone's hearts. Hua Ming liked to rely on his family's background and bully other students. Most people didn't dare to express their anger towards him or retaliate, so seeing young Master Qin do this greatly pleased them. Their eyes became like stars as they weighed the scene unfold. To them, Qin Feng looked like a celestial soldier sent to punish the evil demon from hell. At first, Hua Ming vehemently gazed at Qin Feng, wanting to retaliate. However, Qin Feng began to slap harder and harder, faster and faster. In the end, he started to use both hands as he alternated between them. Hua Ming's head was like a rattled drum as he was battered by Qin Feng's hands. The pain caused Hua Ming to grimace and scream in pain. By now, he was covering his head with his hands, trying to protect himself as much as possible. The scene was like a parent strictly disciplining their child after the child did an awful deed. Everyone was ecstatic. After slapping Hua Ming tens of times, Qin Feng's hands became sore, so he finally stopped slapping. He grumbled, "In future, I'll have to find someone to slap for me instead." Hearing Qin Feng's words, Hua Ming was so angry that he almost vomited up blood. He had lost all face today and was in no mood to stay behind. He covered his head as he scrambled out of the lecture hall. "All right, since I've finished disciplining the wild dog, it's time for the victor to receive his prize. I'm sure everyone wants to see Princess Zhao Lingxian kiss, right?" Qin Feng spoke as he grinned at Zhao Lingxian. Zhao Lingxian was still sitting in her seat, which was unusual. Normally, she would have walked off already, because she never had an interest in such things. Moreover, the bet concerned her. She would have to kiss whoever won. In the past, Zhao Lingxian would have angrily slapped that person, but she slightly looked forward to it, which was why she didn't leave. This was because she knew that the person who won was Qin Feng. "Kiss, kiss, kiss." Qin Feng's words drew an immediate response from the crowd. Many of these people had crushes on Zhao Lingxian. However, they all knew that they had no chance with Zhao Lingxian. Thus, if they saw Zhao Lingxian kiss Qin Feng, they could at least swap out Qin Feng for themselves in their minds. So immature. In the end, Zhao Lingxian didn't have the courage to kiss Qin Feng in front of everyone else. She suddenly thought of Qin Feng publicly rescinding their marriage. If she went and kissed Qin Feng after all that, she wouldn't be able to keep living. She savagely glared at Qin Feng, then lowered her head and ran out of the lecture hall. No one saw that her cheeks were faintly red. Seeing this, Lin Beibei felt a bit gloomy. She didn't think that Qin Feng would publicly ask Zhao Lingxian for a kiss. It seemed that young Master Qin was young Master Qin, sensual and dissolute. They simply lived in different worlds. She looked at Qin Feng, feeling a sense of loss, as she slowly walked out of the lecture hall. Seeing that the beauty had run off, Qin Feng decided that there wasn't much point in staying. After walking out of the lecture hall, he prepared to ride his stylish 28 bicycle back to the Royal Hotel to have a rest. However, after walking out of the university, he saw Yun Xiao and a man intensely arguing about something. Qin Feng hurriedly pedaled over. "Xiao Xiao, our families arranged our marriage half a year ago, but you've been avoiding me this whole time. You even ran from the capital to a small place like the Acropolis city. As a member of the capital's Yun family, you can't escape from this. Even if you run to the ends of the world, I'll be able to find you. Just marry me and make our families happy. That's the best thing for everyone. Standing opposite Yun Xiao was a tall and handsome man. He was wearing expensive-looking clothing as he elegantly stood there, cawing the attention of many girls. However, Yun Xiao didn't look too happy to see this man. She looked away as she coldly replied, "That marriage was forcefully arranged by our families, and I never agreed to it. Wei Xiaolei, I don't feel anything towards you, so please stop harassing me." After speaking, Yun Xiao turned to leave. An icy glint appeared in Wei Xiaolei's eyes as he reached out to grab Yun Xiao, when suddenly a person blocked him. Chapter 50. Chapter 50. I'll give you a 5-minute head start. When Wei Xiaolei looked at Qin Feng, who had suddenly come over, his eyes were filled with hostility. He said in a sinister voice, "Brat, this is none of your business. It's best that you don't make trouble out of nothing." Yun Xiao was also surprised to see Qin Feng. However, after seeing how outrageously Wei Xiaolei had spoken to Qin Feng, she glared at him and said, "This is my student. Please speak with some tact." Wei Xiaolei sized up Qin Feng as the coldness in his eyes became stronger and stronger. "Student? Yun Xiao, could it be that you came to a little place like the Acropolis city for a pretty boy like him?" He laughed. Yun Xiao's chest heaved, and she couldn't even be bothered give Wei Xiaolei an explanation. As she began to leave, she grabbed Qin Feng's hand and said, "Qin Feng, let's go. Don't worry about him." Seeing this, Wei Xiaolei's eyes almost shot out fire. He had known Yun Xiao for more than 20 years, but this was the first time she had taken the initiative to hold a man's head. Moreover, she seemed to cherish this student a lot. Wei Xiaolei definitely wouldn't believe that there was nothing going on between Yun Xiao and Qin Feng. He strode over and blocked the path in front of them, giving them a cold stare while saying, "Yun Xiao, you'd best reevaluate what you're doing. If our families found out about this, what do you think will happen to this brat?" Hee, if I were you, I wouldn't want to drag down a student whose facial hair hasn't even grown out yet. I'm sure you understand what I'm saying. Yun Xiao's face became bright red. Of course, she could hear the thinly veiled threat in Wei Xiaolei's words. If she didn't do as he wished, he would slander her and Qin Feng in front of their families, causing Qin Feng to suffer the consequences. Yun Xiao didn't care about her status or reputation. Wei Xiaolei could say whatever he wanted about her. However, she didn't want to cause trouble for Qin Feng. Although she knew that the Qin family was quite powerful in Acropolis City, she knew that the Yun family and Wei family in the capital were no pushovers either. As such, she truly began to worry about Qin Feng. "What do you want?" Yun Xiao angrily asked. When he saw that Yun Xiao had given in, Wei Xiaolei smiled with glee as he said with relish, "I don't really want anything. I just want to complete the marriage arranged by our families. Tell this brat to piss off so I can take you back. There are some matters I want to discuss with you in private between ourselves." As he spoke, Wei Xiaolei's eyes flashed with an evil light, which made Yun Xiao feel disgusted. However, she had no other choice, and she turned to Qin Feng to ask him to leave. At this moment, Qin Feng started to speak. After listening to the conversation for so long, he understood the general gist of what was happening. Yun Xiao's family and Wei Xiaolei's family had arranged a marriage for them. However, Yun Xiao did not like Wei Xiaolei, so she chose to escape to Acropolis City to teach. Despite this, he wouldn't stop pestering her, and had come to the university to bring her back. Qin Feng was also from a big family and had almost been forced into a marriage by his father. After the incident with Zhaoling Xian, Qin Huang had once again arranged a marriage for him, with a woman he had never even met before. Qin Feng also despised this sort of thing. "Teacher Yun Xiao, it's pretty hot today. There's an annoying fly that keeps buzzing around. Do you want to buy some by spray and kill it?" After being called an annoying fly by Qin Feng, Wei Xiaolei became so angry that his face darkened. He fiercely looked at Qin Feng with eyes that shot daggers with each word he spoke. "Brat, don't be too arrogant. Otherwise, you'll die without even knowing how." "Oh, really? I'll worry about that when I'm dead." Qin Feng smiled as he glanced at Wei Xiaolei. In order to anger him even more, he wrapped his arm around Yun Xiao's waist and affectionately said to her, "Teacher Yun Xiao, I'll take you back."
Sure.
Feeling Qin Feng's arm around her, Yun Xiao's face flushed red in embarrassment. She could tell that Qin Feng was trying to help her, so although she felt a little uncomfortable, she went along with him. "You stinking brat, you'd better get your dirty hands off her immediately. Otherwise, you'll never be able to use that arm again." Wei Xiaolei's menacingly threatened. He ran over once again and stopped Yun Xiao, saying, "Yun Xiao, I hope you've thought about this carefully." Qin Feng impatiently waved his free hand, as if he was shooing away a fly. "Hurry up and go away. Our teacher Yun Xiao is very busy. I'm sure you're not as fast as I am, so I should be the one to take her back," he interjected. When he heard this, Wei Xiaolei laughed in surprise. Qin Feng saying that he could drive faster than him was an absolute joke. As a hedonistic young master, Wei Xiaolei had no skills in finance, business, or management. However, his skills in seducing women, racing, and gambling were all superb. This was especially so for racing. He was one of the top racers in the capital and was nicknamed the Ghost Mountain God Racer by other racers. This was because he had never lost while racing on a certain ghost mountain in the outskirts of the capital before. "Brat, do you dare to race with your elder and see who's faster?" Wei Xiaolei felt incredibly confident. Despite racing for more than 10 years, he hadn't found many people who were on par with him. Who could he possibly fear in this tiny Acropolis city? Within the Wei family's car park, there were more than 10 limited edition race cars. The one he had driven today was his favorite limited edition Maserati Gran Turismo. There were only 12 of these limited edition models in the world, and they could only be bought in Italy. In order to obtain this limited edition car, Wei Xiaolei had spent much effort and used his family's connections. Although he hadn't seen what car Qin Feng had driven, he was sure that it wouldn't be able to compare his cool and flashy his Gran Turismo. The Retro 28 bicycle that Qin Feng had brought was indeed not as cool or flashy as the Gran Turismo. However, Qin Feng was incredibly fast on this bicycle. Hearing that Wei Xiaolei had overestimated his capabilities and challenged him, Qin Feng smiled and agreed. "Since you're so desperate to race with me, I'll show some compassion and accept." Wei Xiaolei was completely infuriated by Qin Feng's haughty manner. "When did I show desperation to race against you? Who cares if you want to race or not?" Just as he was about to start cursing at Qin Feng continued to speak. "However, since it's a race, we need to make it interesting. Since you want to race and see who's faster, whoever loses will give their ride to the other person. Do you dare to accept this bet?" Qin Feng had said this quite casually. Although he hadn't seen what car Wei Xiaolei had brought with him, he knew that even if he lost, he would only lose the 28 bicycle that he had spent a few $100s on. If he won, he would win an expensive and luxurious car. Looking at how magnificently dressed Wei Xiaolei was, as well as the arrogance with which he spoke with, the car he drove definitely wouldn't be too shabby. Of course, who would be afraid? Wei Xiaolei cocked his head up, looking high and mighty. He didn't believe that Qin Feng could beat him, so he simply didn't care about the stakes. "All right, I'll go and bring my luxury car over then." After speaking, Qin Feng went to find his bicycle, while Wei Xiaolei went to drive over his limited edition Maserati Gran Turismo. As he started the engine of the car, it buzzed with a low but mighty vroom vroom, which attracted the attention of many students. Seeing this incredibly cool-looking car, they all cried out and tried to get closer. Although they had not started racing yet, the reaction that his car brought caused Wei Xiaolei to feel incredibly pleased. He stepped down on the accelerator, causing the car to shoot out like an arrow from a bow. As he approached Yun Xiao and Qin Feng, he flicked the car and drifted over. Wei Xiaolei opened the car's door and got out, then proudly walked over. This kind of incredibly arrogant and prideful appearance caused Qin Feng to almost vomit. Even Yun Xiao looked a bit disgusted. "Brat, where's your car? Surely you didn't get too scared and aren't willing to race anymore?" Haha. After seeing Qin Feng act so confidently, then show up without a ride, Wei Xiaolei couldn't help but mock him. Wei Xiaolei looked around him, but couldn't see any other cars around. He thought that Qin Feng had been scared by seeing his ride and had decided to give up. Of course, the bicycle behind Qin Feng was completely ignored by Wei Xiaolei. Are you blind? Can't you see that my ride's right here? Qin Feng picked at his ears as he disdainfully looked at Wei Xiaolei. He came over to the 28 bicycle and patted the seat as he stroked its handlebars. It was almost as if he was stroking his precious lover. Wei Xiaolei was completely dumbfounded and started to laugh. He laughed so hard that his back became arched, completely and utterly amused. He couldn't understand the audacity of this brat to bring out this antique after seeing his flashy Gran Turismo. The Acropolis city really is an unimpressive, tiny city. Everyone here's crazy, Wei Xiaolei muttered. After getting into his car, he said, "All right, where's the finish line? If your elder wins, I want you to disappear from Yun Zhao's life. Otherwise, your elder will find people to break your dog legs." Even if he won, Wei Xiaolei wasn't interested in Qin Feng's old bicycle. The finish line is Teacher Yun Zhao's unit. In order to be fair, I'll take Teacher Yun Xiao with me, and I'll give you a 5-minute head start. Let's start now. Qin Feng then ignored Wei Xiaolei as he casually pushed his bicycle over to Yun Xiao and said, "Teacher Yun Xiao, I'll take you back." Yun Xiao didn't know what Qin Feng was thinking. How could he race against Wei Xiaolei with a bicycle? However, she nodded and slowly got on. Upon seeing this, Wei Xiaolei was so angry that he almost vomited out blood. He slammed his foot down hard on the accelerator, causing the car to fly out. If that brat Qin Feng still dared to stick around Yun Xiao after he won, he would make him vanish from this world forever. Chapter 51. Chapter 51. Wouldn't it have been great if it was gifted to them? Qin Feng, Wei Xiaolei's gone now, so I'll get off and get a taxi. Seeing that Wei Xiaolei had driven off, Yun Xiao wanted to leave. She knew that Qin Feng never planned to race Wei Xiaolei and was only chasing him off. She was quite impressed with how smart that plan was. Qin Feng never thought that someone would gift him a luxury car just like that. So why wouldn't he accept the wager? Seeing that the time was nearly up, he started pedaling as he said to Yun Xiao, "Teacher Yun Xiao, hang on tight. I'm going to speed up." Yun Xiao was scared stiff. Her mind went blank as the bicycle accelerated to an incredible speed. She almost felt like she was sitting on a rocket instead of a bicycle. Qin Feng could feel Yun Zhao's body start to tremble, so he put his free arm behind his back and around her waist. He knew that Yun Xiao was probably scared from riding so fast on a bicycle. As she felt the arm around her waist, Yun Xiao started to tremble even more. Her eyes were filled with fear, and she began to struggle. Perhaps it was the trauma from seeing Qin Feng kill people, but she would become incredibly anxious whenever she saw anything red. She couldn't stay with other people in small, enclosed spaces, and she felt incredibly anxious, being so close to Qin Feng. It wasn't because she was shy about Qin Feng touching her, but because she had developed a strong resistance to people touching her. Ding! The Hedonist sovereign system has issued a quest. Help Teacher Yun Xiao get rid of her fear and social anxiety. Quest time limit: 1 month. Successfully completing the quest will result in you receiving 1,000 Hedonist points. Failing will result in Teacher Yun Xiao never being able to interact with other people again. Qin Feng was currently riding at more than 200 kilometers per hour. When he received the quest from the system, his hands shook, almost causing the bicycle to fly. He couldn't understand what was going on. Teacher Yun Xiao seemed perfectly fine. So where did this fear and social anxiety come from? The punishment of her never being able to interact with other people was simply too cruel. Could it be that she had been traumatized after seeing him kill people? Thinking to the possibility that it was because of him, Qin Feng took the quest to heart and decided to help cure Yun Xiao as soon as possible. Qin Feng shortly arrived at Yun Zhao's unit. Throughout the entire trip, Yun Zhao's body had been shaking uncontrollably, so she hurriedly got off when she saw that Qin Feng had stopped. She maintained some distance between Qin Feng and herself and patted her perky chest as she gulped down air. After a while, she finally calmed down and looked at the familiar scenery around her. "Qin Feng, we're here," she cried out in shock. Yun Xiao hurriedly looked at her phone and found that from when they had left the university until now, less than 10 minutes had passed. The fastest she had ever arrived home was in 30 minutes. She continued to look around and found that she still couldn't see Wei Xiaolei's Gran Turismo. Only then did she accept the reality that Qin Feng had beaten Wei Xiaolei. Of course, Qin Feng didn't dare to tell Yun Xiao that in order to help her overcome her fear and social anxiety, he had chosen the longest route. This was so that he could stay close to Yun Xiao for as long as possible and try to help her get used to it. Otherwise, it would have only taken Qin Feng 5 minutes to arrive. The two of them stood there for a few minutes before Wei Xiaolei's limited edition Gran Turismo entered the district, heralded by its booming engine. What was amusing was that after entering the district, Wei Xiaolei didn't directly go to Yun Xiao's unit. He thought that he had won, so he completed a victory lap around the district, then did a 360-degree spin as he stopped in front of Yun Xiao's unit. Wei Xiaolei's control over the car made Qin Feng slightly smiled. This guy was indeed quite skilled. After obtaining the intermediate racing skills, Qin Feng could immediately tell how skilled someone else was at racing and driving. However, after some careful observation, Qin Feng knew that Wei Xiaolei's skills were far from his intermediate racing skills. The car's doors slowly lifted up and Wei Xiaolei got out, radiating with a sense of victory. He looked up towards the sky at a 45-degree angle, with an incredibly proud expression. After standing there for a while, he turned to look towards Yun Xiao's unit. When he saw Qin Feng and Yun Xiao standing there, he became completely petrified. After staring at Qin Feng in bewilderment, he turned to look at Yun Xiao, vigorously rubbed his eyes, looked back at them, and almost ran into a wall. He couldn't believe that Qin Feng had beaten him here while riding on an old bicycle and taking Yun Xiao as well. Wei Xiaolei's expression was as if he had seen a ghost in broad daylight. Well, you bet, you pay. This showy Gran Turismo is this young master's from now on. Qin Feng ignored the petrified Wei Xiaolei as he snatched the keys from his hand and came back over to Yun Xiao. Teacher Yun Xiao, I'm used to riding on my 28 bicycle, so I'll give this limited edition Gran Turismo to you. Qin Feng still wanted to use the 28 bicycle to train his body and wasn't interested in this grandiose car. However, Yun Xiao shook her head. She didn't want to use such a luxurious race car, much less one that used to be owned by Wei Xiaolei. Seeing that neither of them wanted this limited edition race car, of which there were only 12 in the entire world, Qin Feng could only shake his head in frustration. He walked around and found a big brick, then opened the Gran Turismo's car door, turned on the engine and put it on the accelerator. Boom! The sound from the car's engine almost deafened Qin Feng. Subsequently, the Gran Turismo shot out like a starving beast and crashed into a thick osmanthus tree with a bang. The sound of the collision was incredibly loud, and by the time the car landed, 2 of its wheels had flown out, while the remaining 2 that were still attached spun in the air. The car was flipped over and smoke billowed out from it. The incredibly flashy exterior was almost unrecognizable. The luxury race car worth tens of millions of dollars had been reduced to a pile of scrap metal. As Wei Xiaolei had stood weighing on, he had wanted to stop Qin Feng many times, but there seemed to be something stuck in his throat, which prevented him from speaking. His favorite luxury car had been destroyed in an instant, which caused his eyes to burn with fire as a savage expression appeared on his face. He stared at Qin Feng's back as he vowed, "Your elder will definitely find people to finish you and make you completely disappear from this world." Soon after, Wei Xiaolei left, but the massive collision drew out many of the residents. Seeing that such a luxurious car had been reduced to such a state, they all felt incredibly shocked and that it was a great pity. Wouldn't it have been great if it was gifted to them? Chapter 52. Chapter 52, Banquet of Treachery. Within the crowd, a woman who was wearing a police uniform was especially eye-catching. It wasn't because of her uniform, but because of her voluptuous body underneath. Compounding this with her incredibly icy appearance, Qin Feng immediately locked onto her in the crowd, unable to avert his gaze. The policewoman was called Lu Bingbing, and because of her family's influence, she had moved from the capital to Acropolis City. Here, she had immediately become the Acropolis City's Northern Region's deputy police director, She was a kind-hearted person, but because she had a fiery personality, as well as a righteous and evil-hating nature, she had personally caught tens of criminals shortly after arriving at the Acropolis City. Seeing the luxury car crashed onto the tree and the crowd gathering around, she walked over in the spirit of professionalism. "Is this car yours?" Lu Bingbing truly lived up to her name, which contained two ice characters. Although she was quite beautiful, no one dared to approach her because of the trembling her aura would cause. Qin Feng looked at Lu Bingbing and found that apart from the iciness on her face, there was not a shred of emotion on it. However, it was this sort of woman that Qin Feng wanted to win the most. "Beautiful policewoman, this car is mine. If you like it, I can give it to you," Qin Feng said as he smiled at Lu Bingbing. Seeing the conspicuous desire in Qin Feng's eyes, Lu Bingbing coldly glared at him and replied, "I don't care what you drive and neither do I have any say in the matter. However, I'd be more than willing to execute a hedonistic young master like you for destroying such a luxurious car just to attract attention." Evidently, Lu Bingbing had misunderstood Qin Feng. She had thought that he destroyed the car just to show off. "Immediately find someone to clear out this scrap metal. If it's still here within 30 minutes, I'll arrest you for public nuisance and make you squat in a jail cell for 2 days." This woman was simply too cold, even for the seducer sage. At this moment, an old man collecting scrap metal squeezed through the crowd. He looked at the ruined car as he flabbered his lips and asked, "Whose car is this? Do you want to sell it to this old man as scrap metal? Hurry, don't miss this opportunity." Qin Feng was just thinking about how to get rid of this ruined car, and seeing that there was someone collecting scrap metal, he hurriedly gifted it to the old man. The old man became delirious with joy and repeatedly praised Qin Feng for being a good young man. When she saw that the scrap metal had been taken care of, Lu Bingbing coldly glared at Qin Feng before turning and leaving. At this moment, the old man came to the 28th bicycle and patted it as he yelled, "Whose crappy bicycle is this? If no one wants it, this old man will take it as well." Qin Feng hurriedly ran over and chased the old man away. He said his farewells to Yun Xiao before riding off on the bicycle. The crowd had seen Qin Feng destroy a race car, then leave on an ancient bicycle. They were all completely perplexed. Who knew what went on in the heads of rich people? Qin Feng rode the bicycle back to the royal hotel and slept in one of the rooms until nighttime, when he was woken up by a call. After picking up the call, he heard Hao Yun's voice. "Young Master Qin, us Acropolis City's 4 princes haven't met up in a while. You've always been missing, you busy person. Us brothers are at the Amethyst Dragon Palace having fun. I've reserved the whole place to shout everyone today. Hurry up and come." "Haha, all right, I'll go over when I have time." After hanging up, Qin Feng frowned. Hao Yun, who had called him over at night, definitely didn't have any good intentions. Last time at the banquet of the rich and powerful, he had publicly humiliated him. He had been wondering why that guy hadn't made any trouble for him recently, but now the trouble had come. Attending this kind of banquet of treachery was simply bringing trouble upon himself. However, Qin Feng had other ideas. After Mata, who had been killed, he still hadn't been able to find any clues relating to who the mastermind behind that whole ordeal was. Qin Feng had tried to work on Bai Qing, but it seemed that he still needed some time. He suspected that it was likely that the mastermind was one of those 3 other princes. After all, how could one have the guts to oppose the Qin family without sufficient backing? Half an hour later, an elegantly dressed Qin Feng walked into the Amethyst Dragon. This was a private clubhouse that looked like an emperor's palace and belonged to Hao Yun's family. Compared to the Qin family's royal clubhouse, the Amethyst Dragon Palace was only about half as big. However, its design was much more magnificent, while it also had some dirty dealings hidden away within it. Qin Feng had come here to have fun a few times, but ever since obtaining the hedonist sovereign system, he hadn't come here at all. With the 4 princes all gathered here, it seemed that a night of entertainment was ahead of him. "Young Master Qin, young Master Yun has reserved the entire premises and has been waiting for you. Please come with me." As soon as he entered, a beautiful attendant wearing a red qipao greeted him and guided him inside. The Amethyst Dragon Palace fitted its name quite well. It was designed just like the Northern Sea Dragon King's palace in Journey to the West. The glass they walked on was transparent, and they could see many different fish swimming around. There were also large glass pillars which contained many colorful bubbles. With the beautiful attendant leading him, Qin Feng was guided to the innermost private room. As he entered, he saw the other three princes lazily lying on the couches, smoking as two beautiful women massaged each of them on their backs while another massaged their feet. "Young Master Qin, we've finally invited you over." As soon as Qin Feng entered, an evil smile appeared on Hao Yun's face. He clapped his hands together, and three more beautiful women walked in. They bowed to Qin Feng and prepared to help him get changed. Qin Feng waved his hands and dismissed the three women. Although the women at the Amethyst Dragon Palace were all beauties, they paled in comparison to Lin Bei Bei, Zhao Lingxian, Yun Xiao, and Bai Qing. Qin Feng had no interest in them. "Oh, young Master Qin seems to have changed. Where did the loose young Master Qin go? You've become a prim and proper person, haha." Seeing that Qin Feng had dismissed the women, the three princes all teased him, but Qin Feng didn't mind. He took off his clothes as he got into the hot spring pool behind them and soaked in pleasure. There were many kissing gurumi fish in the water massaging his feet. Young Master Yun, young Master Zhou, and young Master Sima all looked so happy and relaxed while gathered here. Is there going to be some entertaining show later? Every time the four princes gathered, there would be some fantastic entertainment. Alternatively, the four of them would race or gamble together, in order to create some excitement and pass the time. The four of them hadn't gathered together for a while, and Qin Feng could feel that something big was going to happen tonight. "Haha, don't worry, young Master Qin. This young master has a big gift for you, as well as a spectacular show. Just you wait." As Hao Yun spoke, an undetectable trace of coldness flashed in his eyes. The other two princes seemed to know what was about to happen, and all smiled at Qin Feng in wicked glee. Qin Feng knew that something was off, but he wasn't worried. Even if Hao Yun wanted to take revenge, he wouldn't dare to go too far. After all, they were all from powerful families. If things truly got ugly, it wouldn't be beneficial to either of their families. He chatted with the other three princes every so often as he lay in the pool. When the three of them were fully rested, they got up and put on their clothes, as if they were preparing themselves for a good show. Qin Feng also put on his clothes and walked out of the private room with the others. They took many turns and finally stopped at a viewing platform on the third floor. Qin Feng looked down and found that the ground at the bottom was flat and empty, with the area around it surrounded by an iron cage. The iron cage was about 30 meters tall, and the buzzing sound indicated that there seemed to be an electric current running through it. This was evidently a fighting arena. Currently, there were two bare-chested, muscular men fighting inside. The viewing platforms on the first and second floors were filled with people who were all shouting and cheering. However, there was only the four of them on the third floor. The other three princes all found places to sit and weighed the spectacle below with binoculars. Qin Feng also sat down. He still hadn't figured out what Hao Yun was trying to do. Just what was he up to? He was sure that it wouldn't be as simple as just inviting him to underground fights. "What do you think, young Master Qin?" asked Hao Yun, who was sitting next to Qin Feng, smiling. "If I remember correctly, when I previously came to the Amethyst Dragon Palace, this underground fighting arena wasn't here." Qin Feng maintained a calm disposition as he weighed the fight down below. "Haha, young Master Qin has a good memory. Indeed, this fighting arena wasn't here before. This fighting arena is this young master's gift to you tonight. I'm sure you didn't expect this, right?" Indeed, Qin Feng had not expected this at all. However, he was sure that there was no good reason for Hao Yun to randomly gift him an underground fighting arena. He didn't say anything, and Hao Yun continued to speak as he laughed. "Young Master Qin, today was the first day that this underground fighting arena was opened. It has been running for 2 hours now, and do you know how much money it's made so far? $20 million. A whole $20 million. Hao Yun's face was filled with excitement, and his eyes almost shone with light. This was just the profit from 2 hours. If it was a whole night, or a whole week, or a whole month, or a whole year, just how much would it be able to make? "Young Master Qin, I don't dare to calculate all of this. Tonight, I'm gifting this ultra-profitable business to you. So let's put our disagreements from the past aside. Tonight, let's have the time of our lives. Chapter 53. Chapter 53, Tough Old Man. Hao Yun's smile became more and more intense. He signaled one of the employees at the bottom, then suddenly excitedly exclaimed, "Young Master Qin, a good show's about to start. Make sure you don't blink and walk carefully." Just as he spoke, the people in the fighting arena were replaced. A large, muscular man was pushed out. He had probably been locked up in a dark place and didn't seem well adjusted to the bright fighting arena. As he looked around him, he used his hands to block the light. Although his hands were covering most of his face, Qin Feng immediately recognized this person. It was the subordinate who he had just taken under him, Zhang Biao. After recognizing Zhang Biao, Qin Feng's expression became cold. He knew that Hao Yun didn't have good intentions in calling him over, but he never would have thought that he would have captured his subordinate and forced him into the fighting arena. "Young Master Yun, what's the meaning of this?" Although Qin Feng was usually a lazy and careless hedonist young master, he could seem quite terrifying when he became serious. Only two things could make the young master Qin serious. Subordinates he had accepted. They were his people and his women. These two things were his triggers. Even if one was a god or a celestial, Qin Feng would fight them to the end if they messed with his people. What does young Master Qin mean by this? I don't quite understand. Hao Yun acted as if he didn't know what was going on, but Qin Feng knew that he was pretending. Zhang Biao should have been working on contacting the Wild Wolf Gang to take down the Flying Dragon Gang. So why would he come here to engage in underground fighting? Moreover, he had been pushed onto the stage. Evidently, he had been captured and forced here. Furthermore, he had been forced onto the fighting arena right after they had arrived. This simply couldn't be a coincidence. If all of this wasn't arranged by Hao Yun, Qin Feng would have run into a wall and died. "Young Master Yun, let's not beat around the bush. Why did you call me here tonight, and why did you capture my subordinate? What do you want in order to release my subordinate?" Originally, Qin Feng had planned on looking for clues relating to the mastermind behind the plan to go against the Qin family. However, it seemed like there were new troubles for him now. "Haha, young Master Qin is so direct," Hao Yun loudly laughed. His expression then suddenly darkened as he viciously glared at Qin Feng and said, "Since you dared to humiliate me in front of everyone at the banquet last time, you should have prepared yourself for this. Today, your elder's going to take you down and let you know that you're not invincible in this Acropolis city. Ha ha ha." Hao Yun somewhat lost control of his emotions and started to roar with laughter. Qin Feng wanted to beat him up, but thinking to the fact that this was Hao Yun's territory, he controlled himself. He knew that as long as he didn't act first, Hao Yun wouldn't dare to do much to him. However, once he attacked, the situation could spiral out of control. Even if he killed him, he could say that it was out of self-defense. At this moment, the fight in the fighting arena began. The surroundings once again erupted with the cheers of the people who had placed bets on this fight. Qin Feng temporarily put the grievances he had with Hao Yun aside and leaned against the crystal railings as he looked down. Zhang Biao's opponent was an old man in his 50s or 60s who was wearing a tang suit. He was on the skinny side and his eyes glimmered, giving them an unfathomable appearance. Of course, only a person with sufficient strength could feel another person's strength. Having broken through to stage 1, Qin Feng's senses had all been raised, which allowed him to tell that this old man definitely wasn't ordinary. He was definitely one of Hao Yun's subordinates who had been sent here to take care of Zhang Biao. However, it seemed that none of the spectators had placed any of their hopes in the old man. Most of them were loudly cheering for Zhang Biao. It seemed that most of them had placed their bets on Zhang Biao. Compared to the seemingly ordinary old man, this muscular and well-built young man appeared much more likely to win. Zhang Biao had been in the underworld for more than 10 years and could more or less gauge the strength of other people. He could tell that the old man in front of him was not as simple as he seemed, as his eyes were full of wariness. The old man suddenly moved, with surprising speed. Qin Feng's eyes almost couldn't track his movements, let alone Zhang Biao. Before Zhang Biao could even react to what was happening, he suffered a blow to his abdomen and was sent flying. He landed heavily on the ground and spat out a mouthful of fresh blood. Just a simple punch, without any fancy tricks, had sent a large, muscular man flying without any chance to retaliate. This scene stupefied all of the bettors. The people who had been cheering for Zhang Biao immediately shut up, looking like they had just eaten a pile of dung. Some of them even wondered if this was a case of ma-fixing. Perhaps only the four princes knew that Zhang Biao and the old man weren't pretending at all. Zhang Biao wished he could beat that old man down, but he was simply unable to. He lay on the ground and wrapped his arms around his abdomen. The spot where he had been struck was racked with pain, which was so intense that he felt like he was going to cough his internal organs out. The old man's nickname was Uncle Feng, which meant wind, because his speed made him seem like a gust of wind. After knocking Zhang Biao down with a single punch, Uncle Feng's expression did not change. An opponent like Zhang Biao was simply nothing to him. His feet lightly tapped on the ground as he came before him. Uncle Feng raised his foot and viciously stamped down on Zhang Biao's back. A powerful force swept through Zhang Biao's back, causing him to spit out yet another mouthful of blood. Fudge, just kill your elder if you dare. Stop acting like a little girl and using such little strength. Are you trying to give your grandpa a backscrew? Zhang Biao was not stupid. From the moment he had been captured and thrown into a car, he knew that he had offended some important and powerful figure. This important and powerful figure probably had enmity with young Master Qin. When he was taken to the Amethyst Dragon Palace, Zhang Biao confirmed that Hao Yun was behind this. It seemed that the rumors of the young Master Qin falling out with the other three princes were true. Zhang Biao was a man among men. He would rather die standing than live kneeling. Since he had pledged his allegiance to Qin Feng, he would maintain his dignity even when facing death. As such, he loudly mocked Uncle Feng with his remaining strength. A cold smile appeared on Uncle Feng's face as he looked down at Zhang Biao, who was like an ant to him. There was not a shred of compassion in his eyes. He suddenly raised his foot and forcefully kicked Zhang Biao's stomach. Chapter 54. Chapter 54. Finish the fight within 10 minutes. A bang sounded out as Zhang Biao's body flew out like a leaf within a gust of wind. This time, Uncle Feng had kicked much harder, causing Zhang Biao to fly quite far. He smashed into the electric cage, which caused crackling and sizzling sounds. After dropping to the ground, Zhang Biao's body violently trembled as he foamed at the mouth and fainted. The spectators all cried out in horror. Those who thought that the Ma had been fixed quickly dispelled that thought. No one wanted to use their own life to take part in such an act. The crowd now started to become interested in this hunchbacked old man. This underdog was a hidden and mysterious expert. It was uncertain whether Zhang Biao was dead or alive, but no one cared about him anymore. Zhang Biao caused more than half of the bettors to lose money. He was already gaining face since they were not cursing him. That was typical of the coldness displayed by those in the upper-class society. Qin Feng felt a wave of coldness pass through his heart. His fists were tightly gripped together, and he wished he could smash Hao Yun's head with a punch. However, he controlled himself. After seeing how loyal Zhang Biao was to him, Qin Feng was much more concerned about him right now. Young Master Yun, Zhang Biao won't be able to last very long. I want you to send him to the hospital right now, Qin Feng said to Hao Yun with a dark expression. Hao Yun felt delighted after seeing Qin Feng angrily begging him to send Zhang Biao to the hospital. He played with the jade ring on his thumb as he unhurriedly replied, Young Master Qin, I don't think I can allow that. This arena has its rules. Before the fight ends or a fighter surrenders, the fight must continue. Before the fight ends or a fighter surrenders, Zhang Biao was already unconscious. How was he meant to surrender? Qin Feng could tell that Hao Yun didn't dare to openly attack him. However, tonight he was determined to get rid of Zhang Biao as a show of strength. Qin Feng simply couldn't wait anymore after seeing Uncle Feng walking towards the unconscious Zhang Biao. He roared, Hao Yun, Zhang Biao's just a pawn. Aren't you just using him to get at your elder? Forget it, you don't need to make things so complicated. I want to replace Zhang Biao and fight that old man. This took Hao Yun by surprise. The Acropolis City's four princes were quite familiar with each other, but he had no idea Qin Feng could fight. Apart from seducing women, what else could that hedonistic young master do? Are you sure you want to replace Zhang Biao? Hao Yun suddenly sat up straight in excitement. If Qin Feng really wanted to go and fight, Hao Yun was more than willing. He had kept a grudge against Qin Feng after being humiliated by him at the banquet of the rich and powerful. However, because of Qin Feng's family, he hadn't dared to go too far. Now that Qin Feng was asking to fight, even if he was killed, it would have nothing to do with Hao Yun. After all, this was an underground fighting arena. Accidents were common, and one was responsible for their own life or death. Your elders said it very clearly. Let me replace Zhang Biao and fight. Qin Feng couldn't wait to teach that old man a lesson and get revenge for Zhang Biao. Today, he wanted the other three princes to know that the consequence for bullying Qin Feng's people was death. Haha. All right, very well. This young master will arrange for you to fight then. Young Master Zhou, young Master Sima. You also heard that it was young Master Qin who personally asked to go and fight. If something happens, you can be my witnesses. Zhou Kai and Sima too expected that Qin Feng would request to go and fight. They were startled at first, but then they smiled with wicked glee and nodded, saying, Young Master Yun. Since young Master Qin's gotten bored of beauties and wants to feel the stimulation of fighting, just make the arrangements for him. The three of them were of one mind, and in the end, after making some arrangements, Qin Feng was allowed to fight. Just as Qin Feng was preparing to walk down, a familiar frame walked up the stairs. When she saw Qin Feng, her eyes flashed with surprise as she asked, Qin Feng, you're here as well? Qin Feng looked at Han Ying, who was wearing a red dress. She looked extremely seductive, but he was worried about Zhang Biao's injuries and didn't have time to talk to her. He nodded and quickly descended down the stairs. Han Ying stared after him for a few moments before recovering. By then, Qin Feng was already gone. She felt that there was something different about Qin Feng today. There was a rare air of coldness and anger about him. Han Ying quickly ran to the third floor to see what was going on. When she arrived, Han Ying saw the other three princes. She had been invited here by Hao Yun to discuss business at the Amethyst Dragon Palace. Now, seeing that the four princes were gathered, she felt that something big was going to happen. Oh, the Jincheng City's #1 beauty is here. Quick, have a seat. Seeing Han Ying come over, Hao Yun's eyes immediately drifted over, lustfully falling on her body. A look of disgust flashed in Han Ying's eyes, but she gave a lovely smile as she said, What sort of lucky day is it for the Acropolis City's four princes to all be gathered here? Could it be that there's something big happening? Haha, of course there's something big. I'm sure Miss Han won't be disappointed. Hao Yun called Han Ying over to the seat that Qin Feng had just vacated. He had invited Han Ying here tonight to humiliate Qin Feng in front of her. He wanted to take revenge for the humiliation he had suffered at the banquet. Perhaps, if Han Ying saw his domineering side, she might even get into bed with him. Hao Yun couldn't help but smile after thinking about that. Miss Han, hurry and look below us. Qin Feng, that reckless brat, wants to fight in the underground fighting arena. I'll tell you a secret. You see that old man? Don't look down on him. He's an expert I've invited. He's the strongest out of all the fighters here. Hao Yun grinned as he looked down. Qin Feng had already walked into the arena. After hearing Hao Yun's words, Han Ying's expression changed as she looked at Qin Feng in shock. She simply couldn't understand what he was thinking. Young Master Yun, this isn't very good. What if something happens to young Master Qin down there? How will you deal with the consequences? Before coming to the Acropolis City, Han Ying had done her research on Qin Feng. According to her information, he didn't know how to fight at all. He was a hedonistic young master who didn't even have the strength to truss a chicken. He would definitely suffer if he fought against this old man, who was the strongest out of all the fighters here. Han Ying had come to the Acropolis City this time to discuss business with the Qin family. She wasn't interested in Qin Feng at all, but after meeting him, she started to worry about him. Even she didn't notice this subtle change. That brat was the one who requested to go and fight. It's got nothing to do with me. Hao Yun felt quite displeased as he saw Han Ying looking worried about Qin Feng. He ignored Han Ying, his eyes almost shooting out flames as he gazed at Qin Feng in the arena. An evil smile surfaced on his lips. Soon, even if Qin Feng didn't disappear from this world, he would become a cripple. What need was there to be angry? Zhang Biao, are you all right? Zhang Biao, wake up. As soon as Qin Feng entered the arena, he ran over to Zhang Biao and shook his body. However, he saw no reaction from him. The little pig's voice sounded out in Qin Feng's mind. Master, Zhang Biao has taken serious damage and needs to be taken to the hospital immediately. However, there isn't enough time. My recommendation is for Master to buy an elementary gold sore medicine to save Zhang Biao. Qin Feng hurriedly opened the system and prepared to buy an elementary gold sore medicine. However, it costed 100 hedonist points, and he did not have a single hedonist point left. Master, you can break through to stage 2 through your fight with Uncle Feng. After receiving the reward, you can buy the elementary gold sore medicine. You can also obtain more hedonist points from the quest I'm about to give you. However, judging from Zhang Biao's injuries, he probably won't be able to last more than 10 minutes. Please be quick, Master. Just as the little pig finished speaking, an electronic voice spoke in Qin Feng's mind. Ding! The Hedonist Sovereign System has issued a quest. Defeat the stage for external expert Uncle Feng. Quest time limit, 10 minutes. Successfully completing the quest will result in you receiving 500 hedonist points. Failing will result in Zhang Biao being doomed. This quest put Qin Feng in a path of no return. He didn't want Zhang Biao to die. After all, he was only in this situation because he had decided to follow Qin Feng. The aura around Qin Feng suddenly became cold as he furiously gazed at Uncle Feng and walked over. Seeing Qin Feng personally come into the arena, Uncle Feng gave him a condescending look as he stroked his beard. Young Master Yun had told him that tonight was solely for the purpose of taking down Qin Feng. Now, it seemed that things were going to become much more interesting. Brat, you sure have an exaggerated opinion of your own abilities. You dare to personally challenge me? It seems that you've become tired of your lazy life and want to die quickly so you can quickly reincarnate and experience what it's like to be poor. Uncle Feng didn't feel threatened at all by Qin Feng. He could take care of hedonistic young masters like him with his eyes closed while using one hand. You injured my subordinate tonight, so you'll have to pay the price. As for whether I have an exaggerated opinion of my abilities, we'll see whether that's true after we fight. Qin Feng did not back down either as he coldly stared at Uncle Feng. As the two of them shot verbal barbs at each other, the spectators were sent into a frenzy. They had all seen how strong Uncle Feng was, and most of them were betting on him now. None of them paid any attention to the tall, skinny, and fair-skinned Qin Feng. He definitely wasn't as strong as that muscular man from before. Chapter 55. Chapter 55, Biding His Time. I've always heard that young Master Qin of Acropolis City's 4 princes was always a high-profile person who acts arrogantly and condescendingly. Apparently, he doesn't even put the other 3 princes in his eyes, and does whatever he wants. Before, this old man thought that you were just trying to be different, but it seems that you're just a frog in a well, who doesn't know that there are mountains beyond mountains, and people beyond people. Really now? Qin Feng suddenly started to coldly laugh, wondering if all old people spoke so much. He impatiently said, if you want to be arrogant, you need to have the strength to be arrogant. This young man would have been dead a long time ago if he didn't have the strength. I'm a simple person. If I'm not happy with you, I'll kill you. And if you're not happy with me, then come and kill me. However, I'm just worried that you don't possess the strength, and you'll die before killing me. As expected from a hairless brat. It's time for your death, and yet you're still acting so arrogantly. Your elder's going to let you know that even within the Acropolis City, there are people who dare to kill you. Uncle Feng was now well and truly angry. The pressure he was emitting from his body suddenly increased, which made the air around his body gently ripple. A punch that hid an astonishing amount of strength came sweeping towards Qin Feng's abdomen. As he punched out, Uncle Feng also roared out like a wild beast. Even the spectators who were far away could feel a light gust of wind from that roar, which made it seem like it could travel thousands of kilometers. The punch was simply too fast and mercilessly smashed into Qin Feng's stomach. A look of shock flashed in Qin Feng's eyes. He didn't even have time to react as he flew out and heavily fell onto the ground. Despite trying to hold it back, he still coughed up a mouthful of blood. Fast. This old man was simply too fast. That was what Qin Feng was thinking inwardly. While he was still spectating from the third floor, he had been continuously observing Uncle Feng. Even then, he could barely see his movements, which indicated that this old man's strength was his speed. However, personally standing in the arena, he found that this old man's speed was far faster than he had expected. Moreover, that incredibly thin body hid a great amount of power. The system announcement had told him that Uncle Feng was a Stage 4 expert, and it was the first time Qin Feng had encountered such a strong person before. With his Stage 1 strength, as well as the intermediate Thunder Tiger fists, he could punch out with 5 times a normal person's strength, which might be enough to cope with Uncle Feng. However, after going into the arena, Qin Feng found that he had been too naive. Normally, a Stage 4 expert had 5 times a normal person's strength and was 1.4 times faster than a normal person. Evidently, Uncle Feng was much faster than this, making it almost impossible for Qin Feng to even hit him. Despite having the flying dragon armor, after taking a direct hit, Qin Feng found it difficult to even stand from the pain. Whoosh! Yet another lightning-like and domineering punch was sent his way. The spectators fell into a momentary silence before being sent into a frenzy. This old man, who looked incredibly weak, but was in fact ridiculously strong, ignited their blood. Some of them were so excited, as if they were on drugs, that they almost jumped down from the second floor. Standing on the third floor, a look of worry hung on Han Yingying's face. Her heart felt as if it was hanging in the air after seeing Qin Feng sent flying by a punch. She didn't know why she suddenly cared so much about Qin Feng, but she just wanted him to be fine. Haha, brat. Do you still dare to be arrogant to your elder? Qin Feng wasn't even able to defend himself before he was sent flying. This brat was a weakling of weaklings to Uncle Feng. As such, he didn't even place him in his eyes and arrogantly stood over him, as if he was looking down at an ant that he would soon squash. Ha! Do you think your punches are that strong? After spitting out the blood in his mouth, Qin Feng coldly laughed. You're not ashamed to stand there and act all high and mighty? I mean, you're already so old. So when are you coming out to give massages? Even if you want to give massages, can't you put some strength into it? Didn't you eat tonight? Qin Feng mocked Uncle Feng on purpose. Although he had been beaten up quite pitifully, he found that every cell in his body seemed to be trembling with excitement and were rapidly absorbing the strength potion in his body. He knew that he was about to break through his limits. Last time when he was fighting Yuan Xiang, he had experienced this feeling and had broken through to Stage 1. If Qin Feng could continue like this and break through to Stage 2, he would receive 500 Hedonist points, which was enough to buy a gold sore medicine to save Zhang Biao. Moreover, he would have the strength to defeat Uncle Feng. As expected, Uncle Feng was enraged by Qin Feng's words. His eyes widened, as if they were going to explode, and he glared at Qin Feng and said, "Humph! I never thought that you would be as courageous as that muscular man. It's a pity that in this society, the victors are the kings. Simply having courage is not enough." As he spoke, Uncle Feng suddenly raised his foot and forcefully stepped down on Qin Feng's hands. A crack sounded out as his wrists were snapped. Although the pain tore at his heart, Qin Feng gritted his teeth and endured it. Crack. This time, as Uncle Feng's feet landed, Qin Feng's legs were broken. Despite being so old, Uncle Feng's methods were incredibly vicious, causing the spectators to suck in a breath of cold air. The cheering also died down. The arena fell into a strange silence, to the point that one could hear a pin drop. Don't fight anymore, Qin Feng, just give up. If you keep going, you'll die. Seeing this scene, Han Yingying almost cried as she yelled out to Qin Feng. Qin Feng could hear that Han Yingying was genuinely worried about him, and he felt a slight warmth in his heart. He could feel his body's absorption of the strength potion reaching a bottleneck. If he could give it one more push, he would be able to step into stage 2. As such, he looked at the vicious old man without even a hint of fear or pleading as he roared, "Rotten old man. This young master will say it again. If you want to give a massage, then put in some effort. Otherwise, piss off. Fudge. Since you want to die so badly, your elder will fulfill that wish of yours." Uncle Feng was completely furious at this point, and his old face became red. He gathered all of his strength into his feet as he kicked Qin Feng's chest. "Go die." Chapter 56. Chapter 56, Crazily Erupting. The sound of the kick landing on Qin Feng's chest was akin to two cars traveling at great speeds colliding into each other. It was so loud that the entire arena slightly shook. Qin Feng was sent flying onto the electrified cage, causing crackling sounds to be heard. This scene caused everyone to be completely dumbfounded, and some squeamish women didn't dare to even look at Qin Feng anymore. They were certain that there would be blood and guts everywhere, and Qin Feng would have been completely fried by the electrified cage. Qin Feng, Han Ying couldn't help but call out as a stream of tears fell from her eyes. Even Han Ying believed that Qin Feng was dead as well. His wrists and legs had been broken, and he had been kicked like a ball then electrocuted. How could he still be alive? For some reason, when she thought to the fact that she could never see Qin Feng again, she felt an emptiness within her. Reckless brat. To your elder, killing you is like stepping on an ant. On the other hand, Uncle Feng did not react at all to Qin Feng's death. He had already killed many people in the past, so adding Qin Feng to the list was no big deal to him. Of course, the person who was happiest at this moment was Hao Yun. He had personally seen Qin Feng being beaten to the point that he couldn't get up, and had finally been electrocuted to death. He was so happy that he felt he was going to go crazy. Zhou Kai and Sima too started to congratulate Hao Yun. "Congratulations, young Master Yun. In future, with that annoying guy gone, the Acropolis City's 4 princes will become Acropolis City's 3 princes." They didn't like Qin Feng either, and seeing that Hao Yun had gotten rid of him, they were pleased that they didn't have to act themselves. "Haha, today's a day of great celebration. Please stay behind afterwards. I'm going to hold a grand banquet to celebrate. I'll tell Manager Ma later that everything in the Amethyst Dragon Palace tonight will be on my tab." Hao Yun was truly ecstatic. He had wanted to deal with Qin Feng for a long time, and never expected that Qin Feng would bring about his own death. It seemed that the heavens were on his side. Just as he was about to excitedly run down and talk to Manager Ma to waive the expenses of all the guests, a cold voice sounded out. The voice wasn't very loud, but it clearly fell in everyone's ears. It was like a peal of thunder, threatening to blow apart their heads. "Young Master Yun, I'm still alive and well. What are you celebrating about?" Qin Feng was just like a ghost, and no one had noticed him stand up. He was standing with his hands behind his back, and was standing incredibly straight. He had a light smile on his face, and his body emitted a cold and sharp aura. It was as if he had died and become a new person. The domineering air that was coming from his body gave off a sense of pressure. The feeling everyone felt was akin to a spring wind after a terrifying storm, creating an image of new life. The spectators couldn't help but respect Qin Feng. The image of him standing there, looking like an invincible god of war, was firmly imprinted onto their hearts. After speaking, Qin Feng came over to Zhang Biao and squatted down as he pushed a red medicinal pill into Zhang Biao's mouth. He then stood up and looked at the time on his watch. A frivolous smile appeared on his face. He mumbled to himself, 3 minutes left. That should be enough to take care of this rotten old man. Qin Feng wasn't being overconfident. After being repeatedly beaten up, he had successfully broken through to stage 2 and had received 500 hedonist points from the system. He had bought 2 elementary gold sore medicines, one for himself and one for Zhang Biao. After eating the elementary gold sore medicine and adding on the fact that he had broken through to stage 2, Qin Feng's bones had completely healed, and he had become even more agile than before. He now possessed 4 times a normal person's strength, and combined with the intermediate Thunder Tiger Fists, He could explode out with 6 times a normal person's strength. His speed was also 4 times a normal person's. Now, facing Uncle Feng again, Qin Feng had the strength to defeat him. Humph, brat, I never thought you would be this hard to kill. Qin Feng had stood up as if he was fine, and apart from his singed clothing, he looked completely unharmed. Deep down, Uncle Feng felt a shred of fear. Even he wouldn't be able to take such a beating and survive, and yet Qin Feng looked completely fine. Of course, he kept his fear hidden within him instead of displaying it openly. Uncle Feng's eyes on his wrinkled face shot out icy intent as he fiercely spoke. So what? Your elder doesn't mind killing you a few more times. I wonder how many lives you have? Suddenly, Uncle Feng's body exploded out with even stronger pressure, and even the spectators on the second floor could see the air rippling. Uncle Feng's body shot out so quickly that it became a blur and was unable to be followed by the naked eye. It was as if Uncle Feng had teleported. In just an instant, he had arrived in front of Qin Feng, and his legs spun as he prepared to kick Qin Feng's head. Hey, brat, this time your elder's going to kick your head into bits. I'll see if you can stand up again. As Uncle Feng roared out, the sound of his leg cleaving through the air could also be heard, making everyone feel incredibly astonished. In response, Qin Feng suddenly smiled. After breaking through to stage 2, his entire body had been enhanced. He found that the old man in front of him didn't seem as fast, at least. Qin Feng's eyes were able to follow his movements. Suddenly, Qin Feng shifted his body as he nimbly avoided Uncle Feng's ferocious kick, then spun and punched out. Uncle Feng's body was still turning in his kick when he was sent flying by Qin Feng's punch. Simple and agile, yet bold and powerful. That was the impression Qin Feng left on everyone's hearts. The spectators had long since been completely astounded and couldn't express in words what they were seeing. They simply couldn't understand how Qin Feng, who had seemed so defenseless earlier, became so powerful all of a sudden. Uncle Feng held his stomach and vomited out a few mouthfuls of blood. He struggled to stand straight, and when he looked at Qin Feng again, there was a hint of fear in his eyes. However, they were predominantly filled with anger. He felt humiliated that he had been sent flying by this hedonistic young master who was rumored to be so weak that he couldn't even truss up a chicken. The aura around his body became even more intense, and he looked at Qin Feng as if he was a corpse. Originally, he had not gone all out, as he believed that he was facing a useless young master. However, things were now different. He sprang towards Qin Feng, preparing to use all of his skills to fight with him to the death. Uncle Feng was like a demon and shot incredibly quickly towards Qin Feng. This time, Qin Feng found it difficult to follow his movements. He had thought that Uncle Feng was ridiculously fast, but only now did he realize that this was his true speed. Master, you can take off the flying dragon armor, which will instantly remove the weight on your body. This will allow you to become light as a cloud, creating unexpected results, the little pig reminded him. Qin Feng suddenly thought back to the flying dragon armor's description. He hurriedly unequipped the 150-kilogram flying dragon armor. Something strange happened. Qin Feng had been carrying the 150-kilogram heavy flying dragon armor for the past few days, and had kept it on him even when he was sleeping. Now that the weight was suddenly gone, he felt that his body was incredibly light, as if he had transcended this mortal plane. He looked at Uncle Feng, and strangely found that he now seemed incredibly slow. Qin Feng slightly tilted his head as Uncle Feng's fist swung towards him, easily dodging it. This time, Qin Feng wasn't in a hurry to counterattack. This sort of miraculous feeling made him feel incredibly excited. After taking off the flying dragon armor, his speed not only increased, but his senses and reaction speed were heightened as well. This scene was exactly like the one shown in martial arts movies, where the main character could see his opponent's attacks in slow motion. Uncle Feng was already angry enough to go mad. After punching out with full confidence and hitting Qin Feng, then seeing Qin Feng easily dodge his punch, Uncle Feng angrily punched and kicked countless times. However, Qin Feng seemed to become faster and faster, and dodged each attack by the smallest of margins. This caused Uncle Feng to feel utterly furious as he felt like Qin Feng was toying with him. Just when Uncle Feng was about to cough up blood from his anger, Qin Feng looked at the time and found that the 10 minutes was nearly up. "All right, I can't be bothered playing with you anymore. You can go die now." As he spoke, he swept out with his palm, which left afterimages behind it. This palm seemed ordinary, but it was filled with vigor and even gave Uncle Fu a sense of death. It smashed into Uncle Feng's chest, resulting in a large explosion. Uncle Feng flew backwards, and the momentum caused him to smash a crater in the cage. His body remained within the depression he had created in the cage, as the electricity repeatedly flowed through his body. It was like a scene from a sci-fi movie. The people who had come to spectate and bet had viewed a great performance tonight. They had weighed an intense and heart-racing fight, and then saw a person being electrocuted into ashes. Ding! Congratulations, host Qin Feng, for defeating Uncle Feng. You have received 500 Hedonist points. Ding! The Hedonist Sovereign System has issued a quest. Break through to Stage 3. Quest time limit: 3 months. Successfully completing the quest will result in you receiving 1,000 Hedonist points. Failing will result in the host losing the intermediate Thunder Tiger Fists and never being able to learn the Thunder Tiger Fist skill again. Chapter 57. Chapter 57. Incredibly Domineering. Hao Yun and the other two princes were all completely dumbfounded. They had all known Qin Feng for a long time, but today was the first time they had realized how powerful he was. Han Ying's delight was also mixed with much shock. She never knew that Qin Feng was such a powerful external expert either. "Young Master Yun, your dog's been taken care of, so you're next." Killing Uncle Feng wasn't Qin Feng's ultimate goal. Tonight, Hao Yun had completely enraged him. If it wasn't for the fact that he had been close to breaking through to Stage 2, the one who died would have been him. This time, Qin Feng decided that he was sick of being on the defensive. Who cared who this young Master Yun was? Anyone who dared to act against this young master like this would have to die. Hearing this roar, Hao Yun's legs gave out and he fell to the ground. He didn't know when, but Qin Feng had already arrived from the arena and was standing right in front of him. He was simply as fast as a gust of wind. "Qin Feng, what are you going to do?" Seeing the humorless smile on Qin Feng's face, Hao Yun was so scared that he started to tremble. "What am I doing? You can't tell? Of course I'm sending you to reincarnate, so you can be a good person in your next life." As he spoke, Qin Feng slowly walked towards Hao Yun. The pressure he released made it difficult for the people around him to even breathe. Hao Yun was so scared that all color disappeared from his face, and he stared at Qin Feng in fear and shock. He scrambled backwards until his body was firmly pressed against the railings of the 3rd floor. There was nowhere left to run. "Qin Feng, please let me go, and we'll cancel out all the grievances between us. I'll never make trouble for you again, all right?" The strength Qin Feng displayed completely shocked Hao Yun. He never thought that Qin Feng would be able to defeat even Uncle Feng. Even if he was given the opportunity, he would never dare to oppose Qin Feng again. "It's too late to say all that," Qin Feng said as he continued to walk forwards. Sima too suddenly stood up as his expression became serious. "Qin Feng, you've already killed Uncle Feng, so you'd better control yourself and not make things too big. Give me, Sima too, some face, and stop here for tonight. How about that?" Compared to Hao Yun and Zhou Kai, who were scared witless, Sima too seemed much calmer. His family had existed since ancient times, and almost all of China had the Sima family's shadow over it. After seeing how powerful Qin Feng was, he wasn't scared, but had instead stood up and asked him to stop. "What if I said that in front of this young master, your face is worth less than a shoe-in soul?" Qin Feng blandly said without even looking at Sima Tuesday. "Qin Feng, don't act too extravagantly." Seeing that Qin Feng wasn't planning on giving him any face at all, Sima Tu's face darkened. He was just about to threaten Qin Feng some more when Qin Feng suddenly acted. He suddenly kicked towards Hao Yun. Qin Feng used quite a bit of strength in this kick, as if he was kicking a feral dog. The strength behind the kick sent Hao Yun flying, and the silver railings behind him also shattered, causing him to fall. His body flew in a long arc, then finally hit the concrete floor heavily. Hao Yun had fallen 7 to 8 meters onto a concrete floor. Even if he wasn't dead, he would definitely be crippled. The sound of Hao Yun hitting the ground was quite loud, sounding like violent thunder in everyone's hearts. The things that had happened tonight were simply too shocking and exceeded all of the spectators' imaginations. Zhang Biao woke up soon after being fed an elementary gold sore medicine by Qin Feng. He had seen Qin Feng courageously battling Uncle Feng, then wait as Qin Feng kicked Hao Yun down from the 3rd floor. He knew very clearly that Qin Feng did all of this for him. He felt incredibly blessed to follow a young master like this, and looking at Hao Yun, who was lying in a puddle of blood, a look of resolution flashed in his eyes. He pulled out a dagger from his clothes and unhesitatingly came over to Hao Yun. He lifted the dagger, then plunged it into Hao Yun's chest. Poochie. Hao Yun's head tilted, and his body trembled before he died. After killing Hao Yun, Zhang Biao did not look scared at all. Instead, he looked quite happy as he yelled out, "Everyone, look closely. This young Master Yun was killed by me, Zhang Biao, and his death had nothing to do with young Master Qin." Qin Feng looked down at Zhang Biao from the 3rd floor and felt a wave of warmth in his heart. It seemed that he had chosen a good subordinate, and the risk he had taken to save Zhang Biao was worth it. "No one move. Put your hands on your head and squat on the ground." At this moment, a squad of police officers rushed onto the scene. However, the entire situation had fallen into complete chaos, and no one wanted to listen to the police officers and be caught. As such, many of the spectators began to flee. However, when they reached the exit, they found that the arena's 2 back doors and main entrance were already surrounded by police. Only then did they obediently squat on the ground and give in. When the arena settled down, a devastatingly beautiful woman walked in. She was wearing tall, black boots, which clicked as she walked on the concrete. Her uniform bulged at her chest, but there was not a shred of emotion on the policewoman's face. Her face was as cold as ice that had been frozen for 10,000 years, and anyone who looked at her shivered. She calmly glanced around at the people around her, then went up to the 3rd floor. She stood in front of Qin Feng and the others as she looked down from the platform on the 3rd floor. She immediately saw Hao Yun lying in a pool of blood, which caused her to deeply frown. "Can anyone tell me what happened here?" Qin Feng had met this policewoman before. She was the one who had been at Yunzhao's district, Lu Bingbing. Qin Feng didn't give Sima Two-Face just then, and he had been quite displeased about it. Now that he had an opportunity to take revenge, Sima Tu hurriedly answered Lu Bingbing's question. "Beautiful police officer, I saw that man next to you kill the person down there." Lu Bingbing's gaze fell on Qin Feng, and the look in her eyes became even colder. She still remembered that Qin Feng was the rich young master who had destroyed a luxury car in public. Lu Bingbing completely hated this sort of hedonistic young master. "Police officer, this matter's unrelated to young Master Qin. Everyone here saw that it was me who stabbed that brat to death. That brat has done countless evil deeds and loved to oppress everyone he saw. I couldn't stand him, so I decided to get rid of him." Zhang Biao hurriedly shouted up towards the 3rd floor, trying to take the crimes on himself. However, what he said wasn't wrong. Hao Yun was normally strung through and filled with evil, and had an extremely bad reputation within the Acropolis city. Chapter 58. Chapter 58 Arrested. Lu Bingbing had just been transferred over from the capital and wasn't very familiar with the powers in the Acropolis city. She didn't know who Qin Feng was, or any of the other princes. She only knew that there was an illegal fighting arena here, and that 2 people had died. When she saw Uncle Feng, who was still on the cage and had been burnt to crisp, Lu Bingbing's body shot out an icy aura. Such a thing had happened in the region she was in charge of. She was truly furious. Don't bother arguing with me. Take them all away. I'll interrogate you all one by one and learn what the truth is." As the deputy police director of the northern region, she had received information from someone on the inside that there was an illegal fighting arena within the Amethyst Dragon Palace. As such, she had immediately brought over a police squad. As she waved her hand, a drove of police officers rushed in and started preparing to transport the people here to detention. Because there were so many people to detain, many of the police officers who were standing by the entrances and exits were now gone. There were only 2 police officers standing at the door, which caused Qin Feng's eyes to light up as he tried to think of a way for Zhang Biao to escape. If Qin Feng was caught, he would be released very soon as he had the Acropolis City's Qin family's power behind him. However, Zhang Biao was different. He already had a criminal history and had killed 2 people for Qin Feng. If he was caught, he was done for. Master, there are 20 elite police officers here. According to the system's calculations, if Master tries to take Zhang Biao and flee, both of you will be shot and killed within 8 seconds. Just as Qin Feng was about to move, he heard the little pig's voice echo in his mind. This scared Qin Feng into standing incredibly still. The little pig continued to speak. Master, my recommendation is that you buy a super smoke bomb to instantly fill the room with smoke. That way, Master will be able to help Zhang Biao quickly escape. Little pig, are you dumb? If I threw out a smoke bomb, I wouldn't be able to see anything either. Master, you're the dumb one. When buying a super smoke bomb, the system also gives a pair of goggles that allows the wearer to see normally, in spite of the smoke, the little pig proudly said. Qin Feng didn't know how to respond. He could only swallow his frustration and spend 200 hedonist points to buy a super smoke bomb. Why were those things so goddamn expensive? Master, if you can't understand how high-tech the system's items are, then don't complain. The super smoke bombs are much more advanced than your world smoke bombs. Moreover, the smoke they release is completely harmless, so even if you breathe in a lot, you'll be completely fine. Be satisfied already, Master. Ever since the little pig had destroyed Liang Sheng's corpse using its fireball skill, it had become more and more conceited. However, Qin Feng couldn't retaliate at all. After all, the little guy could spit out fireballs. He didn't bother to continue complaining to the little pig and quickly activated the super smoke bomb, then threw it next to Zhang Biao. Immediately, clumps of smoke began to rise up with Zhang Biao at the center. In less than 5 seconds, the entire room was filled with smoke. Qin Feng immediately put on the smoke goggles and rushed over to Zhang Biao, his body still feeling incredibly light after unequipping the flying dragon armor. In just a few breaths of time, he arrived by Zhang Biao's side. Zhang Biao, be quiet and follow me, Qin Feng quietly spoke as he pulled Zhang Biao towards one of the back exits. No one move. Squat down where you are. Squad 2, hurry and open the windows and doors to clear this smoke, Lu Bingbing's icily commanded. Anyone would be able to tell how furious she was just from the sound of her voice. Qin Feng moved incredibly quickly as the police officers opened all of the doors. He ran towards the back exit closest to him and successfully made it out with Zhang Biao. Zhang Biao, you go first. Take this card. It'll be enough to last you for a while. When everything settles down, I'll contact you. Qin Feng threw a bank card to Zhang Biao, then quickly ran back into the ROM. Zhang Biao had to escape, but he couldn't. Who didn't recognize his face in the Acropolis City? It would be pointless even if he did run. Zhang Biao watched Qin Feng disappear. The muscular and incredibly tough man secretly wiped away a tear in his eyes as he determinedly also ran off. The smoke had spread quite quickly, but it was also easy to clear. Not long after Qin Feng arrived back at the 3rd floor, the room became clearer and everyone could see again. However, there was someone missing, the muscular man who had claimed to have killed Hao Yun. Where's the man who was standing there? Hurry up and look for him. Don't let him escape. As soon as the smoke cleared, Lu Bingbing discovered that Zhang Biao was gone and immediately sent people to look for him. She suddenly turned to look at Qin Feng, her beautiful eyes threatening to pierce through him. Did you throw that smoke bomb? What smoke bomb? I thought you guys threw it in to scare us. That really gave me a great fright. Qin Feng said, feigning ignorance. Lu Bingbing stared into Qin Feng's eyes. When the smoke bomb had activated, she felt a gust of wind blow by her, as though Qin Feng had run past. All of you are coming back to the police station with you. I'll interrogate each one of you and get the information I need. Lu Bingbing's beautiful face caused Sima Tu and Zhou Kai to lust after her, but the aura she gave off was simply too cold. Although they had their desires, neither of them dared to try and get closer to her. The order within the room settled down, and most of the police were busy detaining and transporting the spectators. There were 3 police vans filled with people, and Lu Bingbing had to phone for more vehicles. Qin Feng, Han Ying, Sima Tu, and Zhou Kai were driven in Lu Bingbing's police car. Lu Bingbing looked extremely displeased as she drove, and the temperature within the car fell a few degrees because of her. No one dared to say anything, but Han Ying, who was sitting in the passenger seat, would occasionally look at Qin Feng through the rearview mirror with a worried gaze. The car arrived at the North District Subbureau and the 4 passengers got out. After getting out, Sima Tu and Zhou Kai started to make phone calls to arrange for people to take care of the matter. Qin Feng also took out his phone to call Uncle Fu, but as soon as he pulled it out, it was confiscated by Lu Bingbing. "What are you pulling out your phone for? You're coming with me to the interrogation room. You can call whoever you want after telling me everything." Lu Bingbing had already been quite displeased with this young master because of the incident with the luxury car, and now she had caught him in the illegal fighting arena. As such, she dragged Qin Feng into the interrogation room first. When she saw this, Han Ying felt a little anxious. She took out her phone and prepared to find people to take care of this. It was completely dark within the police station's interrogation room number 3. Qin Feng sat on a wooden chair, as Lu Bingbing suddenly turned on the desk lamp and pointed it towards him. The blindingly bright light made it difficult for Qin Feng to even open his eyes, making him wonder if this policewoman was a demoness. "Name." Lu Bingbing's piercingly cold voice rang out, devoid of any emotion. She had only been transferred here from the capital a week ago, and as soon as she arrived, she had vowed to take down the forces of evil in the Acropolis city. She was an extremely righteous and cold policewoman. Qin Feng. Through the gaps in his fingers, he could see Lu Bingbing's pretty face, and he smiled, saying, "Of course, you can also call me the seducer sage, young Master Qin." Although he had been taken to the police station, Qin Feng did not feel nervous at all. Zhang Biao had taken Hao Yun's death on himself, so with the Qin family's power, it wouldn't be long before he could leave. "If you don't want to be beaten, act seriously." Lu Bingbing glared at Qin Feng as she continued to ask, "Age?" "The perfect age for thinking about marriage. Miss Beautiful, do you want to consider it? My family's quite rich." Lu Bingbing was so angry that the icy aura around her became even colder, and her chest heaved under her uniform, making Qin Feng not want to leave anymore. "I'll warn you one last time. If you continue to spout nonsense, I'll cripple you." Lu Bingbing realized that Qin Feng was one of those annoying types, so she stopped bothering with the basic questions and started asking the important ones. "Tonight, you illegally fought in the Amethyst Dragon Palace and killed 2 people. Go through the events of the night." The frivolous expression on Qin Feng's face was swept away as he looked at Lu Bingbing with great interest. This woman was quite smart. She could tell that Zhang Biao was trying to take Hao Yun's death on himself, so she directly blamed Qin Feng for both Hao Yun and Uncle Feng's deaths. She was quite vicious. Combined with Lu Bingbing's cold and beautiful appearance, any normal person would fall into this trap. "Beautiful policewoman, I'm not sure what you're talking about. Yes, I fought illegally, but I didn't kill anyone. The person who killed people already escaped. You should be capturing him. You can't just put the blame on me," Qin Feng said with a serious expression. Seeing that Qin Feng hadn't fallen for it, Lu Bingbing's voice became stricter. "You'd best tell the truth. Was the person who escaped your accomplice? Were you the one who helped him get away?" she asked. Qin Feng had a look of great injustice on his face as he replied, "Io, beautiful policewoman, don't lump me in with someone like that. He killed 2 people by himself. How could I have such a friend?" Lu Bingbing couldn't hold in her anger anymore. When she saw Qin Feng for the first time, she immediately knew that he was a useless young master who only knew how to play and enjoy himself. She wanted to use force to make him submit. Chapter 59. Chapter 59. Is the system crazy? Suddenly, the interrogation room's door was opened. and Officer Xiao Lu walked in with a serious expression. Director Lu, this is some of the evidence we found at the Amethyst Dragon Palace, as well as some of the gambler's statements. Xiao Lu placed 2 documents onto the interrogation desk. He had looked through the documents, and now weighed Qin Feng as he started to pray for him. Although Lu Bingbing had only arrived a week ago, everyone in the police station had seen her fiery temper and valiant skills. Even if a mass murderer was brought into the police station and fell into Lu Bingbing's hands, all of the police officers in the North District Subbureau would pray for them. This was because Lu Bingbing's methods were simply too frightening. Director Lu, if there's nothing else, I'll be going first, Xiao Lu hesitantly said. Seeing that Lu Bingbing paid no attention to him, he hurriedly exited the room. As he closed the door, he looked at Qin Feng in pity. Lu Bingbing scanned through the 2 documents seriously, and her expression darkened. Qin Feng, the underground fighting arena in the Amethyst Dragon Palace was your investment that you opened? Lu Bingbing suddenly looked up and glared at Qin Feng. Even Qin Feng was dumbfounded by what she said. The Amethyst Dragon Palace doesn't belong to my old man. How could I possibly open a fighting arena there? Beautiful policewoman, you can't just go around unfairly accusing people. Lu Bingbing threw the document onto the table in front of him. He skimmed through the contract, which stated that he was buying the underground fighting arena. Qin Feng immediately understood what had happened. This was probably the big gift that Hao Yun said he was giving him. Hao Yun must have planned for Qin Feng to Zhang Biao be killed, then call the police on Qin Feng. Because his name was on the contract and the fighting arena had taken in tens of millions of dollars, as well as the fact that people had died, the Qin family would have to pay a hefty price for Qin Feng's safety, no matter how powerful they were. Qin Feng couldn't help but admit that this move by Hao Yun was quite savage. However, he had underestimated Qin Feng, and his plan was foiled by Qin Feng's abilities. In the end, he had died because of this scheme of his. He had truly suffered a double loss in trying to outplay Qin Feng. Are you still going to say that I'm unjustly accusing you? Seeing that Qin Feng had fallen silent after reading the document, Lu Bingbing continued to emphatically question him. Qin Feng raised his hands, innocently saying, I really didn't know about this. I'm sure there's someone framing me. Framing you? How could someone frame you with an underground fighting arena worth tens of millions of dollars? Do you really think I'd believe such a thing? Evidently, Lu Bingbing did not believe him at all. She then threw over another document and spat. Then what about you killing an old man in front of all of the spectators? Were you also framed into that? Qin Feng looked through the document and found that it contained the statements of many of the spectators. Countless eyes had seen him send Uncle Feng flying into the electrified cage, where he was burnt to crisp. Qin Feng simply couldn't dispute this matter. Moreover, Lu Bingbing didn't know who Uncle Feng was and thought that he was just a normal old man. When she thought of this evil, hedonistic young master killing a poor old man for fun, she wanted to execute him on the spot. Ding! The hedonist sovereign system has issued a quest. Hug Lu Bingbing for 10 seconds. Quest time limit, 1 hour. Successfully completing the quest will result in you receiving 100 hedonist points. Failing will result in the host being thrown into jail for half a year. Ding! The hedonist sovereign system has issued a quest. Train Lu Bingbing to be as gentle as a lamb and completely obedient to the host. Quest time limit, 3 months. Successfully completing the quest will result in you receiving 3,000 hedonist points. Failing will result in the host losing 2 women closest to him. After seeing these quests, Qin Feng couldn't help but inwardly curse, and he started to wonder whether the system was crazy. Train Lu Bingbing? To the point that she was as gentle as a lamb and completely obedient to him? Qin Feng looked at Lu Bingbing in front of him and instantly exploded with complaints. Little pig, why the hell is this quest so ridiculous and weird? Ling Chun complained. Master, the quest to hug Lu Bingbing is based on Master's desires, and I gave it to you for some service. As for the quest to train Lu Bingbing, that was a compulsory quest given by the system and has nothing to do with me, the little pig lazily said, acting as though Qin Feng's life and death had nothing to do with it. Qin Feng felt a bit awkward upon hearing that the little pig had access to his desires. But even so, How could it make a quest like this and call it service? Qin Feng could already imagine the scene of him being crippled by Lu Bingbing after hugging her. You goddamn punk, stop acting dumb with me. I've seen far too many scoundrels like you. I'll ask you one more time. Will you confess or not? It was as if Qin Feng had lost his soul. After asking him many times, he had not reacted at all, which caused Lu Bingbing to angrily roar. Qin Feng suddenly came back to his senses. He didn't even consider whether he wanted to confess or not. Instead, he looked at the beautiful woman who was glaring at him and gritted his teeth as he sprang at her. Beautiful policewoman, there's no one else in this interrogation room, so play with Big Brother for a bit. Qin Feng was fast as lightning, and before Lu Bingbing could react, he had enveloped her in his embrace. A faint fragrance wafted into Qin Feng's nose. It wasn't the smell of perfume, but the natural fragrance of Lu Bingbing's body. Perhaps it was because Lu Bingbing regularly exercised and practiced martial arts, but her skin was firm and supple, and her figure was simply incredible. Qin Feng felt that he could use a single arm to wrap around her entire waist. The two large rabbits pressing against his chest were almost bursting from her uniform and made Qin Feng feel dizzy. A multitude of thoughts raced through Qin Feng's mind, and Lu Bingbing was completely stunned. She had never been hugged by a man like this before, and never expected Qin Feng to do such a thing. It was as if her soul had been stolen, and she lay in Qin Feng's embrace without moving. Ding! Congratulations, host Qin Feng, for completing the quest to hug Lu Bingbing for 10 seconds. You have received 100 hedonist points. Gotcha! At this moment, the door to the interrogation room was once again opened, and Xiao Lu once again walked in. He had an anxious expression on his face, as though something big had happened. Chapter 60. Chapter 60. So they were dancing. When he saw the scene before him, Xiao Lu was so shocked that he dropped the documents in his hands. His mouth was opened so wide that a goose egg would be able to fit in it. He had expected to see Qin Feng bloodied and bruised when he returned, to the point that he was unrecognizable. However, the incredibly strange scene in front of him was completely different to what he had expected. Why was the #1 cold beauty of the North District Sub-Bureau hugging this loose and dissolute young Master Qin? Had she been tempted by the Qin family's power and wealth? If that was so, he had wrongly judged this director Lu. Xiao Lu was feeling quite annoyed. Lu Bingbing was a goddess to all males in the entire Sub-Bureau, so he wished that he could replace Qin Feng when he saw her intimately hugging him so tightly. Lu Bingbing snapped back to her senses when Xiao Lu entered and immediately shoved Qin Feng away. Her expression became furious to the extreme, and if Xiao Lu wasn't present, she probably would have executed Qin Feng on the spot. Director Lu, something important came up. Xiao Lu was in a great hurry. Otherwise, he wouldn't have barged in like this. Hurry up and spit it out. Lu Bingbing squeezed each word through her teeth. Director Lu, the head bureau's director Ma just called. He told you not to act recklessly and that he's heading over right now. He'll make the decision when he arrives. Xiao Lu wiped off some cold sweat from his forehead. He never thought that the Qin family was so powerful. Qin Feng had been here for less than 10 minutes and yet, there were already major officials calling. There's also Mayor Niu. He just called to tell us that he would be here immediately and not to do anything extreme. There's also Secretary Wang. He's overseas at the moment, but he said that his assistant would be here soon, and that we need to comply with the orders from the higher-ups. Also, all right, enough, you can leave. Xiao Lu hadn't finished speaking, but Lu Bingbing didn't want to hear it anymore. After chasing Xiao Lu out, she glared at Qin Feng and said, "Looks like you have powerful backers. Otherwise, you wouldn't have acted so arrogantly. However, let me tell you that I, Lu Bingbing, am an incredibly righteous person. I can't stand you useless and hedonistic young masters. No matter what sort of backing you have, I'll still beat you until you submit if you're in my territory." Qin Feng wondered if Lu Bingbing had weighed too many female warrior shows when she was younger. However, when he saw her lock the door to the interrogation room, he couldn't help but start to feel nervous. Could there be some sort of unwritten rules in this police station? Director Liu, it's only the first time we've met. Don't you think that this development is a bit too fast? Qin Feng smiled as he looked at Lu Bingbing. She almost wanted to cough up blood and didn't waste any words as her slim, beautiful legs swept towards him. Although her legs were long and slim, they made a cleaving sound as they flew through the air. Luckily, Qin Feng was able to react quickly and he twisted his body. Lu Bingbing's foot landed on the chair that Qin Feng had been sitting on, splitting it in two. Holy fudge! You want me to turn this fiery-tempered policewoman into a gentle and obedient little lamb? Can I spend hedonist points to get rid of this quest? I'll give as many as you want. When he looked at the destroyed chair, Qin Feng felt incredibly shocked. Luckily, he had reacted quickly, otherwise, his bones probably would have been broken. Director Liu, are you inside? Hurry and open the door. Director Ma, Mayor Niu, and Secretary Wang's assistant are outside. Xiao Lu's voice came from outside the door. Hearing that reinforcements had arrived, Qin Feng hurriedly went over to open the door. But how could Lu Bingbing allow Qin Feng to do as he wished? She stood with her back against the door and chillingly declared, Qin Feng, if I don't break your dog legs today, my name isn't Lu Bingbing. Aya, so you don't like your name. How about you change your surname to mine and become my wife? Qin Bingbing, eh? That doesn't sound too bad. Realizing that this fiery-tempered policewoman wasn't going to let him go, Qin Feng stopped dodging around and decided to fight her head-on. It would be a good opportunity for him to break into Stage 3. You're still spouting nonsense with death staring you in the face. Take this. Lu Bingbing was so angry that the whites in her eyes were showing, and she once again sprang at Qin Feng. This time, she was much faster, and the pressure she was emitting was much stronger. Although her fists were quite small, they were filled with power and were not to be underestimated. Qin Feng countered with his own punch, but didn't use his full strength. He could tell that Lu Bingbing was a Stage 2 expert, so he only used 3 times a normal person's strength. However, Lu Bingbing was unable to defend against a top-grade external technique like the Thunder Tiger Fists. She stumbled back, hitting the corner of the table, and was about to fall to the ground. Qin Feng shook his head. How could he allow such a beautiful policewoman to fall? His figure flashed as he arrived beside her and caught her with his arm around her waist. Both of their movements were quite elegant, as if they were dancing a waltz. Qin Feng had an evil smile as he looked down at Lu Bingbing. Her face was flushed and her chest heaved. Killing Qin Feng 100 times wouldn't be enough to relieve the anger that she felt. At this moment, the interrogation room's door was broken door. The 2 police officers who had shoulder charged the door fell through, as a large group of young men wearing official-looking uniforms walked in. They were all important figures from various government departments within the Acropolis city. If anyone saw this scene, they would probably feel blinded. The number of officials gathered here made it seem like there was an important meeting going on. All of them were dumbfounded, and they all looked at Qin Feng and Lu Bingbing strangely. From the outside, they could hear the sounds of fighting, so they thought that the violent Lu Bingbing was torturing Qin Feng. As such, they had decided to break down the door, but after entering, they saw Qin Feng intimately holding Lu Bingbing. They were dancing. Feng'er, are you all right? Qin Huang rushed in. However, after seeing Qin Feng, all of his worries disappeared. With so many people now at the scene, Qin Feng couldn't continue to take advantage of Lu Bingbing. He let go of her waist as he replied, Dad, don't worry. I'm completely fine. After the father and son talked for a bit, a few other officials walked over. Qin Feng saw Han Ying and the other 2 princes walking with them. Han Ying looked incredibly worried, while Zhou Kai and Sima too looked quite displeased. Director Liu, you don't need to look into this matter anymore. It was a misunderstanding. You can let them go now. As the director of the head bureau, Director Ma had been worried for the entire night. 10 minutes ago, he had received calls from 2 senior officials from the capital regarding the Acropolis city's Qin family. Under this sort of pressure, he didn't dare to make any mistakes. Let this brat go? Evidently, Lu Bingbing didn't care about the hierarchy. She maintained her cold and arrogant demeanor as she said, Director Ma, I have 2 pieces of evidence that are enough to make Qin Feng sit in jail for the rest of his life. How can we just let him go? Director Ma's face almost started to turn green. However, this hot-tempered little policewoman in front of him wasn't someone to be trifled with. Everyone felt that Lu Bingbing's background was quite mysterious, but didn't know who was backing her. However, Director Ma knew that she was from the capital's Lu family. The Lu family was a powerful family whose mysteriousness made him feel incredibly small in comparison. Director Lu, I have the say in this matter, so don't interfere anymore. Under the pressure from various sides, Director Ma decided to side with the Qin family. After all, he simply couldn't afford to offend those 2 senior officials. They could remove him in a matter of minutes. Lu Bingbing was so angry that her face seemed to be covered with frost. She was about to continue arguing when another group of well-dressed men walked into the interrogation room. The relatively spacious room was now filled with a crowd of important figures. Who said that we can just let this matter go? 2 people died. Can you just let that go? The new group of people was led by a white-haired old man. He was the senior figure in the Acropolis City's Hao family, Hao Longtian. He had erupted in rage when he heard that his beloved grandson had been killed by Qin Feng, and decided to use all of the Hao family's power to deal with him. A battle between 2 large families had quietly begun. After looking around, Hao Longtian's gaze fell on Qin Feng and his eyes burned with fire. If he could, he would have personally killed Qin Feng on the spot. A life for a life, that's what justice is. Even if it's the Qin family's boy, he won't be able to escape the judgment of the law. The people that the Hao family had brought were all important figures, and apart from the officials from the Acropolis City, there were also some officials from the neighboring cities. In fact, there were even some people from the capital. This sort of lineup didn't lose out at all to the people the Qin family had brought. When this wave of people come in, Sima Tu and Zhou Kai's eyes lit up with excitement. Half of these people had been invited by the Sima and Zhou families. There were 4 big families in the Acropolis City, and it seemed that 2 of them were about to start fighting. The Sima family and Zhou family could simply stand by and watch, but had decided to help the weaker Hao family. They were all hoping that the Qin and Hao families would suffer great losses, and that they would reap the benefits. If that happened, they would each control half of the Acropolis City. Department Head Zhao, why have you come? When he saw that even the department head Zhao from the capital had arrived, Director Ma felt that he was on the verge of collapse. He knew that in a battle between 2 large families, many different powers would be dragged in. If I didn't come, you'd be releasing a murderer. Director Ma, do you even know how to do your job? It seems that I need to report your behavior today to the higher-ups. Department Head Zhao threatened as he glared at Director Ma. Chapter 61. Chapter 61. Educating the Newbie. Director Ma felt torn. Although he wanted to comply with the 2 senior officials' wishes and help the Qin family, Department Head Zhao greatly outranked him. It was simply too difficult to defend Qin Feng. In an instant, the situation greatly changed and swung in the Hao family's favor. There's nothing left to say. That little bastard Qin Feng killed my grandson Hao Yun, and there's enough evidence to prove he did it. I say we sentence him now. It'll definitely be the death sentence. The room quickly fell silent, as though Qin Feng had really been given the death sentence. The only sound that could be heard was heavy breathing, and even Qin Huang wasn't able to defend Qin Feng. A lazy and unhappy sound cut through the silence. Since you disrespected me first by calling me a little bastard, I won't give you face either. Oi, rotten old man, what right do you have to sentence me to death? And when did you see me kill your grandson? That guy was killed by a muscular and bearded man who has already escaped. You should be hunting him down now. What did you just call me? Hao Yun's grandfather suddenly coughed as his face twisted. He pointed at Qin Feng and roared, "You little bastard, even if you didn't kill Hao Yun, you definitely killed an old man. An evildoer like you, who would kill a defenseless old man who didn't even have the strength to truss up a chicken, deserves 100 death sentences." Qin Feng was quite displeased that Hao Yun's grandfather was still calling him a little bastard. Rotten old man, don't try to play dumb. That dead old man was a top-no expert. Don't try to make him sound pitiful. If you ask me, I'd say he was probably a murderer escapee, he replied. Qin Feng wasn't speaking nonsense. He simply didn't believe that Uncle Feng had never killed anyone before. It was likely that he had killed people in the past, and that he was seeking refuge. As such, he had found a backer to hide him as he evaded the police. Don't you dare slander him. That old man was my family's old butler. He was a kind soul and had no family. He was in terrible health and would be coughing and wheezing after walking only a few steps. I simply don't know how you were able to bring yourself to kill him. A look of shock flashed across Hao Yun's grandfather's face, but an angry gaze quickly replaced it. He had lied so confidently that even Qin Feng was impressed. Qin Huang silently stood at the side, observing everything. When Qin Feng mentioned that the old man was a murderer, Hao Yun's grandfather had appeared flustered for a split second, which didn't escape Qin Huang's notice. He immediately whispered to Uncle Fu next to him, and Uncle Fu disappeared like a gust of wind. It's very clear that Qin Feng killed 2 people. There's no need to defend him anymore. Department Head Zhao finally spoke. Director Liu, lock this person up in your North District Sub-Bureau while I report this evil matter to the higher-ups. We'll sentence him tomorrow. I hope you'll keep an eye on him during this time. He could tell that Liu Bingbing vehemently hated Qin Feng, which was perfect for him. He could rest assured with Qin Feng locked up here. With the matter decided, Hao Yun's grandfather left with the people he had brought. Qin Huang and the people he had brought all looked quite distressed. Feng'er, don't worry. I've already asked Uncle Fu to investigate that old man's identity. We'll try to get you out as soon as possible. It'll be hard on you tonight. Qin Huang still couldn't understand how Qin Feng could have killed Hao Yun. However, the situation was too urgent and he had no time to ask. He comforted Qin Feng for a while before taking the people he had brought and left. The battle between the Acropolis City's Qin family and Hao family had begun. Qin Huang had many things that he needed to prepare. The 2 groups of people had come and left quickly. Only Liu Bingbing and Qin Feng remained in the empty interrogation room. Director Liu, I was quite enjoying our dance just then, but it was ruined by all those people rushing in. Do you want to continue? Evidently, Qin Feng did not seem worried about his situation at all. After all, Zhang Biao had taken Hao Yun's death onto himself, and the old man definitely had a dark past. Once his father did some investigating, he would be let out. As such, he happily flirted with Liu Bingbing. After all, Qin Feng had no choice. If he didn't start to lay some groundwork now for his quest to train Liu Bingbing, when would he start? When you're sentenced tomorrow, I'll personally shoot you to death. Liu Bingbing had become accustomed to Qin Feng's frivolous and hedonistic personality. She coldly glared at him as she took him to the Sub-Bureau's dark and damp underground jail. Steel bars surrounded every cell, and each cell was only 20 square meters in area. They were even smaller than Qin Feng's home's toilets. Get in and wait for your death. Liu Bingbing pushed Qin Feng into the innermost cell, then locked the door and left. She didn't want to spend even an extra second with Qin Feng. When she thought about him forcefully hugging her, she felt disgusted. It was completely dark in the cell, and Qin Feng stood at the door for a while as he waited for his vision to adjust. There were 6 other men squatting in this cell. They were all bare-chested and 3 of them had tattoos on their bodies. They all looked over at Qin Feng. When the tattooed men saw Qin Feng, a look of amusement appeared on their faces. Oi, newbie brat, do you know the rules here? The long-haired, tattooed man coldly laughed as he asked Qin Feng. Nope. Qin Feng shook his head. Haha, I didn't expect you to. Your granddaddy will personally educate you on the rules here. The long-haired man's smile grew wider as he walked towards Qin Feng. There hadn't been a newbie in this cell for a long time, and the long-haired man was bored to death. After all, there had been no one to toy with. The 3 tattooed men had long since taken care of the other 3 men. Brat, from the way you're dressed, you're probably some family's young master, eh? The long-haired man felt the clothes Qin Feng was wearing and found that they were incredibly soft and comfortable. It was the first time he had touched such clothes before, and he knew that Qin Feng was definitely a rich young master. Haha, it doesn't matter if you're a rich young master. You can be as unruly as you want outside, but in here, you're this granddaddy's slave. You're going to massage your elder's back and feet every day, and you're going to make me feel comfortable if you don't want to be beaten. When your elder wants it, you'll offer up your cherry willingly. Got it? Bullying a young master felt much more satisfying than bullying a normal person, which delighted the long-haired man. Ooh, it's a young master? Long hair, move over. You're too short. These clothes are perfect for my height. Hearing that a rich young master had entered the cell, the remaining 2 tattooed men gave vulgar smiles and hurriedly came over. The 3 of them acted as though Qin Feng was a lamb who had landed in a pack of wolves. They temporarily ignored him and started bickering among themselves as to whose slave he should become. Qin Feng looked at the 3 of them and laughed, feeling that they were complete idiots. He then shifted his attention to the other 3 men. They were still squatting on the ground, and 2 of them looked quite small and weak. They weren't very old either, and they looked quite submissive, not daring to even look over at Qin Feng. It seemed that they had already been trained by the 3 tattooed men. The other one had a resolute-looking face and gave off a domineering air. His eyes looked quite old, as though he had seen and experienced much in the world. His head was slightly lowered, and he didn't look over to where Qin Feng was. His eyes were a little unfocused, as if he was thinking of something. All right, stop fighting. We'll take turns wearing his clothes, and this newbie young master will be our shared slave. That should be fine, yelled the long-haired man. Also, your elder found this brat first, so I'll wear his clothes today. He'll be my slave today, and I want to have him alone tonight. You 2 can arrange whatever you want for tomorrow and the day after tomorrow. This was the conclusion that the 3 tattooed men had reached. Qin Feng belonged to the long-haired man today, so the other 2 men sullenly sat back down. Brat, hurry up and take your clothes off, and let your elder do some relaxing. After that, give your elder a massage. If I'm not happy with you, I'll make you regret it. The long-haired man's face suddenly became serious. He looked quite vicious and was trying to scare Qin Feng into submission. Qin Feng felt that this person was quite amusing. Perhaps he had been here too long, and his mind had deteriorated. Qin Feng cleaned his ears as he lightly smiled and replied, "Haha, what if this young master isn't willing?" "Not willing, haha. Then, your elder will beat you up until you're willing." When he saw that Qin Feng wasn't giving in, the long-haired man didn't become angry, but instead arrogantly laughed. He pointed at the 2 weak-looking men who were squatting on the ground as he said, "Brat, see those 2 people? When they first came in, they were like you, and were very disobedient. Now, they're completely submissive to your elder. If I tell them to lick my toes, they won't complain at all. Brat, you're not a young master in here. In this cell, you're just a dog." "Haha, with your long hair, you look quite like a golden retriever," Qin Feng said as he laughed. The long-haired man's face became sinister as a ruthless look flashed in his eyes. "Fudge, you dare to call your elder a golden retriever? I'll kill you." Chapter 62. Chapter 62, Mysterious Man. As he spoke, the long-haired man leapt towards Qin Feng. To him, this weak young master was still trying to be arrogant even in here, so he would have to beat some sense into him. Seeing the ferocious long-haired man coming at him, Qin Feng's expression did not change. He stood his ground and did not move until the long-haired man's fist was about to reach his nose. Qin Feng punched out, fast as lightning. Qin Feng only used 4 times a normal person's strength in this punch, which accurately smashed into the long-haired man's nose. The man was sent flying as his nose shattered, and a stream of blood erupted out of it. The long-haired man crashed onto the ground with a thump. This commotion caused the other people in the cage to look over. Expressions of shock appeared on their faces as they saw the long-haired man lying unconscious on the ground. Qin Feng had acted too quickly, and the others hadn't even seen him attack. When they looked over, they only saw the long-haired man lying in a pool of blood, and didn't know what had happened. The 2 weak-looking men reacted as if they had seen a ghost, and they started to tremble. There were 2 tattooed men remaining. One was bald, and the other had a wolf tattooed on his arm. They were feeling quite displeased because they couldn't enjoy Qin Feng tonight. However, they were given a big fright after seeing this scene unfold. However, very soon, the bald-headed man realized what had happened. The long-haired man was the best at fighting out of all of them, while Qin Feng looked like a weak pretty boy. The bald-headed man concluded that Qin Feng had taken the long-haired man by surprise and knocked him over. Fudge, you dare to sneak attack Longhair? Do you want to die? Hurry up and kowtow 3 times, otherwise your elder's gonna kill you. The bald-headed man wasn't in a hurry to deal with Qin Feng. It wasn't that he was afraid of Qin Feng, but because the long-haired man was unconscious, he could have Qin Feng to himself tonight. He hadn't experienced a tender and good-looking man like Qin Feng in a while, so he didn't want to injure Qin Feng too much. Even if he had to beat him up, he would do it after he satisfied him. There are quite a few madmen in this jail. Do you want to become like him as well? Qin Feng said as he lightly smiled. Goddamn, brat, you don't know what's good for you. I gave you the opportunity, but you're not taking it, so your elder will smack you to death. As he spoke, the bald-headed man charged over ferociously. Qin Feng smiled and shook his head, then lightly kicked, sending the bald-headed man flying. His head smashed into the firm wall, knocking him out instantly. The others hadn't seen what had happened to the long-haired man, but everyone saw clearly what had happened to the bald-headed man. The remaining man with the wolf tattoo on his arm felt his legs weaken. He was a veteran in brawling, but it was the first time he had seen someone so powerful before. Qin Feng beating someone up looked as effortless as him killing a mosquito. Although he feared Qin Feng deep down, he maintained a tough exterior. He slightly trembled as he said, I'll have you know, your elders learnt martial arts before. If you don't obediently listen to me. Qin Feng couldn't bear to watch this man try to act tough while shaking. Before the man could finish speaking, Qin Feng's legs swept out, and just like the bald-headed man, the man with the wolf tattoo flew through the air and hit his head on the wall, and also fainted on the spot. This 3-versus-1 battle seemed to have finished before it even began. The remaining 3 people who were squatting on the ground looked at Qin Feng with strange expressions. This was especially so for the 2 weak-looking men. They were so scared that they uncontrollably trembled. However, a light lit up within the eyes of the man with the weathered face, and he looked at Qin Feng with great interest. Be big brother. I'm called Little Ma. I can give you massages and clean the cell. Just please don't hit me. Big brother, I'm called Little Yuan. I can do those things too, so please don't beat me. I'll do whatever you say. The 2 weak-looking men kneeled in front of Qin Feng. They were frequently oppressed and bullied by the 3 tattooed men, and they never thought an even stronger person would come along. They were so scared that their faces became slightly green, and they wished they could die. They both mourned as to why their lives were so difficult. Qin Feng looked at the 2 men and shook his head and ignored them. He walked over to the man with the weathered face and sat down next to him. How come you're not begging me like them? Since Qin Feng had entered the cell, he had been interested in this middle-aged man. He looked about as old as his father, and his face was incredibly weathered, as if he had seen much in life. The man didn't answer Qin Feng's question, and instead asked him, What's your name? After staring in surprise for a moment, Qin Feng truthfully replied, Qin Feng. An expression of shock appeared on the man's face as his unfathomable eyes lit up. He stared at Qin Feng fixedly as he asked, The capital's Qin family? Qin Feng suddenly became wary, because his grandfather held the power in the capital's Qin family. It was also why the Acropolis city's Qin family could be so powerful. After hesitating for a moment, Qin Feng shook his head and replied, The Acropolis city's Qin family. Acropolis city's Qin family? After hearing this, the man lapsed into silence for a few moments before replying, Your father's called Qin Huang? Your grandfather's called Qin Shitian? It was Qin Feng's turn to be surprised. It wasn't a big deal that this man knew about his dad. After all, he was incredibly famous in the Acropolis city. However, the capital's Qin family was incredibly mysterious, and even Qin Feng didn't know much about it. How could this man call out his father and his mysterious grandfather's names so casually? Evidently, He seemed to have some understanding of the Qin family. Qin Feng was quite surprised as he asked, "You know me? What relationship do you have with my Qin family?" The man let out a long breath, as if he had been relieved from a burden. He carefully reached into his pockets and dug around for a while before taking out a small wooden box and handing it to Qin Feng. "Take this and keep it safe. It'll save your family when the Qin family faces destruction." After seeing the man dig around in his pockets for a while and take out a crappy-looking wooden box, Qin Feng couldn't help but look down on it. Just as he was about to refuse, he heard the words the man spoke, which caused his sword-like eyebrows to deeply frown. "What's this?" Qin Feng took the black wooden box. He was about to open it when the man suddenly grabbed his hand. The man's hand was covered with scars and felt like a clamp. It tightly gripped Qin Feng's hand, and although Qin Feng tried to use his full strength to break free, he couldn't budge an inch. In that instant, Qin Feng felt incredibly dumbfounded. He had 6 times a normal person's strength and was quite confident in his strength. He had defeated all of the opponents he had faced. However, in front of this mysterious man, Qin Feng felt that he didn't even have the strength to retaliate. That you're tuning in to the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.